Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream. Today is the 10th of June 2021, 33 minutes past 7 in the evening here in the UK. Back in X-Plane 11, back in the ZIBO MOD 737. Fantastic news, everyone. I've been back to work. I've done my two first passenger flights of the year. I won't disclose where I actually went, but I'm happy to say I went to Spain and I went to Italy. And I've got a few days off now as well, off until next week. I'll be telling you all about that later on this flight here, but I've got something really nice and special for you this evening. We are currently in Oslo Gardemoen, the capital of Norway. We're going to Svalbard. This will be the second time we've been to Svalbard, but what makes this flight really interesting is that we'll be landing there at midnight local time, so it's going to be a little bit of a later evening stream here. So we'll be landing at 11 o'clock UK time in the evening, midnight local time in Svalbard, and this island at the time of the year is so far up in the northern hemisphere, the sun just does not set. We're going to have a continuous sunlight flight all the way there, and hopefully we'll be demonstrating a localizer only approach or an RNAV approach of some sort, so it's going to be really, really cool today. Hope you're doing well, Miles Peacock. He says lovely, thank you very much. Cheers, Gino, for your kind words as well. Alexander, how long's the flight? A little bit longer today, about 2 hours 45, 2 hours 50 minutes or so. I really wanted to go from Oslo because there's actually a real sector flown, I think by SAS, they go from Oslo to Svalbard, so that's why I wanted to do that there. Joe Drake, hope you're doing well. That's a long flight from Japan. Brilliant. Christian, happy for you, thank you very much. Domino Ocena just passed from Oslo on my way to Alesund. I'm 13 nautical miles north west of the airport. Very good, have a safe flight for the rest of your sector there. Bjorn says maybe we'll be descending in clouds and a localizer VR approach today. Yes, looks like runway 28 in use later on in Svalbard, but the weather shouldn't be too bad. It can be quite interesting over there today. Excellent, let's zoom on in here. We're on stand 45 here. Aircraft's completely cold and dark. We're in the latest version of the ZIBO MOD 737, so 349.6, same one that's also available publicly. I hope you've all been enjoying your new standby instruments, which was added to the aircraft quite recently as well. This scenery here is from Aerosoft. It wasn't too long ago we actually departed from Oslo. Probably about a month ago, I think. Yeah, we took the Inibuild's Beluga. I think we went from there to Luton, that was right, and then we did the truck simulator stream on the second channel as well. I'll be live again on Saturday. I'll be doing Cross the Ditch from New Zealand to Australia, but I'll post all the information about that tomorrow morning. But we'll enjoy this sector today as well. Inhuman reactions. Has anyone been having issues with the localizer not showing on the PFD? The test sector for this exact flight last night, no issues on the localizer approach, so it could be a local issue as well with you. We'll have a look later on. But here we are anyway. We're in the Boeing themed Alpaca Airways ZIBO MOD 737 as well. If you'd like this livery, use the command ! Livery and chat. That is from Jordan, one of our members. All these smashing people that make these wonderful liveries for their channels. Very, very grateful for you there. Miles, we went to Luton. I know, I just about remembered that as well. But here she is, completely cold and dark, live time, live weather, lovely evening here in Oslo. Clear skies, it's still 22 degrees Celsius here, really warm. It's actually really warm in my office as well, going to be melting by the time we get airborne here. Inhuman reactions, okay, I'll do some more testing. Yes, could be an issue, could be an issue with the airport, who knows there. Patrick, hi Captain, we'd love to hear about your very first flight, the 737, how was it? Nervous? It was a little nerve-wracking. That was back in beginning of 2012 when I did my base training, but yeah, we'll have a chat about that later on. But was I nervous? Yes, it was sort of the conclusion of all my flight training all wrapped up into one particular flight. It was very, very nice there. Very good. Scenery is so outdated, can't wait for the next Oslo scenery. Yes, hopefully Aerosoft will perhaps update this. I don't know what's actually been changed here, but it maybe could do with a little bit of updating. Right, anyway, let's get everything up and running here in the ZIBO mod. So, batteries on, GPUs on the bus, electric hydraulic pumps are on, verify the landing gear lever is down. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green lights. Excellent. So we then check all the aircraft's documentation. Fault fire test coming up next. It feels strange because I've actually been back at work and going back into the ZIBO mod. Honestly, this has been so useful for the amount of time away from normal operations. When I jumped back in, it didn't take too long to get into the flow again, and I really have to thank the ZIBO mod for that and practicing the flows and the procedures that I do every stream. It was nice to have a second pilot that was more useful for Jim, let's say. Right, fault and fire tests are done. Emergency exit lights are armed. Let's have a look here at this sector. Now, you'll notice that on the ZIBO mod, on previous streams and previous versions of the ZIBO mod, the home button wasn't available I finally found out how to enable it. So if I go here to airports, I can still press home, which is useful, or charts, press home. If you go to your ZIBO Mod 737 folder, there's a little AVI tab document or system file. You open that in Notepad, you just simply change the word from false to true, or vice versa, I can't remember, and then you have the little home button, which is really really nice. So that's makes it a little bit easier to have everything up and running on the ZIBO mod that way. Anyway, let's have a look at our operational flight plan. So a slightly longer flight than usual, 2 hours 50. No doubt you guys will keep me going with lots of questions throughout the cruise, but looking forward to it. 10.9 tons. Now, we've got quite a long way to go because it's sort of a remote island. You'll see our reserves are really high, 4.1 tons. That's actually to get down south to divert to Tromsø if we need to. But we'll take an extra 30 minutes just in case if we go around or anything there, which is quite a tricky approach. So 10.9, 11.9, let's call for 12.1 tons of fuel. 12.1. There we are, and we're only going to take 50 passengers today, 50 passengers. Very sadly, I did my first 2 flights on Sunday and Monday last week, and the passenger loads were not great. Our first place went to in Italy, we had 40 on the way down and about 20 on the way back, and then I went to one of the Balearic Islands on Monday, and we had, it wasn't too bad there, 90 on the way back, 90 on the way down, 4 on the way back. So I'm sort of loading the aircraft sort of representative of the loads that we get today, which is a bit depressing, but just 50 passengers, 4.2 tons, and we can call for the fuel truck. Zero fuel weight should be 47.4. There we are, 47.3. This is Yusuf. Is that the avitab.json file? Yes, that was the one I modified. That's it there. That's the one that worked out well. Wait, Richie, you heard it here. ZIBO flight training is official. It's really good. Yes, it's an official form of training, but it's really been useful for me just to flick switches, go through the flow. So when I jump back in, back at work, you know, just went straight back into it. But I hope you enjoyed some of the pictures I posted on the story. I'll do some more. I'm not going back flying until the end of next week. Do some more there. Right. So, we've done the fuel, that's being uplifted by our man from Oslo, yes it is, so seatbelt signs will leave off for now. Test the attend button, flaps are up, matching the indicator position here, take off config check, the config warning horn is sounding correctly, and, oh yeah, so we've got the new dinger on there. Thank you very much whoever that was that subscribed. I think Streamlabs fixed everything now. It had issues with text-to-speech and all that sort of stuff. I've got new voices, it should all be working. I'll be testing later on this afternoon there. But, there's a little subscriber things up and running. Just nice and subtle to say thanks to anyone that's joined there. So thank you Danielle for subscribing. Right, cargo fire test is done. Working our way down here. Rudder and aileron trim is set. Gear extension doors closed. Circuit breakers are all in. Let's do our stall warning test. 1, 2, back airspeed warning test, check the flight recorder, EC's on, engine control lights, reverser lights are extinguished, we have sufficient crew oxygen today, IRS to nav, so I'm going to take here this latitude, not too long, 9 minutes, and we check all the emergency equipment, circuit breakers are all in, and we can now start the boarding in the ZIBO mod. There we are, starting the flight leg. Alan, not sure what I've done, but although I heard the intro music, I can't hear what the captain is saying. How am I sounding, guys? Poor Alan, I don't think could hear me at all, but maybe you can't hear anything. Haven't accidentally muted it. I keep doing that. Yes, well, if you can't hear anything, you already have muted it there. But I hope you fix it soon, Alan. Right, what are we up to now? So, pre-flight checks. So, lights test. You'll notice I'm doing things now which I haven't been doing in the mod. That's because I've been back at work here. So we'll do the lights test now. We'll scan here. Looking good. MCP's looking good. Order throttle FMC status lights. And they should all be on except the wheel well fire warning. So that is all looking good. Back to bright. That always illuminates all the master caution lights. You want to reset that. Crew oxygen check there. So on the real aircraft we have 3 options. We have normal, 100% and emergency, and this one is not as much functionality, but we can test it there. Coffee full check. 50, next we 40, do turn up the lighting there. 30, thank you very 20, much. Waypoint Richie, there was no need. It should be a new voice. Here we go. Thanks to the fiver.
Testing 1 2 3. Yes, it works.
It does work. Waypoint Richie, thank you very much for your donation. Very kind. Welcome. Welcome. I'll say welcome to someone else that just joined as a subscriber. Thank you, Waypoint Richie, for your generosity. Very kind. And for your continued support as a member. But guys, yeah, it's no need to test it. It's there. It's been working. Streamlabs, I opened up a ticket. They said they fixed it. Changed the voices, so I've got a new one. 2 new voices, and the subscriber thing's now working, so it doesn't always spam the subscriber thing too. So excellent. Thank you, Waypoint Richie, for testing. Right, that's lighting done, aircraft oxygens done. Seat position, we checked there. Audio control panels all looking good. That's looking excellent. Welcome, Ethan's Aviation. Please subscribe. And now it's time to load the flight management computer. Now, at the moment, very quiet here. We don't have any. Oh, we do actually have ATIS here, 127150, so let's try and get some weather. I've also done the Boeing OPT for you guys today, so you'll be able to do some real performance checks against the real OPT. Okay, trying on voice, but there doesn't seem to be any noise as usual, so I'll just get it on text here. So information, Papa here in Oslo Gardemoen. Runway in use is 19 right and 19 left. I should think we'll get 19 left for departure, which is the preferred departure runway in Oslo Gardemoen. And also, I believe 19 right is closed anyway in real life, but not so that's
50,
transition level 85.
30, 20,
Traffic use frequency 121550. Abby, that's very generous of you. Thank you very much for the £25.
Howdy.
Thanks. that was unbelievably generous. Thank you very much. Howdy to you, and thank you again for your continued support as a member. Very kind, and yeah, you've always been extremely generous to me, your donations. So thank you very much. Right, so it says here all traffic use frequency 121550. Met report 20012. Cavalcade 22 degrees. QNH is 1013. No sig. So that's all done. Stephen, you got clearance of 19 right. In that case, who are you talking to? Out of curiosity, is that? Danish centre 121375. No, there is an ENOR centre 121550. Well, in that case, what I might do is get my clearance now, just to confirm the runway we'll get for our departure. Expecting an EVTOG SID of some sort, so let's have a listen in here. Nicholas, starting my type rating on a 737 on Monday. Although online ground school is first. Oh, yes, of course. Having to do all of the e-learning remotely, how frustrating, but good luck with your time rating, sir. Thank you for popping in.
QNH 1013.
QNH 1013, clear for push and start,
Centre, good day. It's Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo in Oslo Gardemoen. Stand 45, information Papa. QNH 1013, departure clearance to Svalbard.
Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo Polaris hello, clear to Svalbard. FTOG 7 Delta departure. 19 right, climb 7,000 feet. Squawk 4413.
Cleared Svalbard on the FTOG 7 Delta departure, runway 19 right, climb 7,000 feet, squawk 4413, Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo.
Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo, way back correct.
Perfect, so 19, well, not perfect for us, a bit of a longer taxi for 19 right, but we've got our clearance. 7,000 feet, squawk 4413. And we haven't loaded the FMS, which you can do now. So 1013 is set. Let's double check the MFRA. So you'll see that I have the OPT here from the real Boeing onboard performance calculator. Very sorry this isn't available publicly, but it works really well on the ZIBO MOD. So there's our MFRA, that's where we get it from. 1681, very specific height, so we'll set that here. Remember, that's the altitude at which we accelerate in the event of an engine failure. So 1681. And now we can load up the flight management computer here as well. Lars says the westerly runway is the preferred one, the easterly one is mainly used for international traffic as it is closest to the international terminal. Maybe, Lars, something to do with my operator then, where we park, because it says for us 19 in our documentation, 19 left preferred for departure, but that's probably it there. But no, 19 right it is. We'll have a slightly longer taxi, but so be it. Hopefully I won't get lost without my Jim's pretty useless when it comes to navigating navigating on taxiways. Right, latest AirAx installed, and we are in Oslo Gardemoen, so Echo November Golf Mike. Hopefully I've timed this stream with the expected flight time, the time on where I want to depart at around 25-30 minutes. We'll be landing pretty much around midnight local time in Svalbard, just to show you how bright it is there still. It's incredible, really. Call sign is Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo. And departing 19 right, and it was the EVTOG 7 Delta. There we are, not much to do with the form of routing here. So from EVTOG, Lima 997 to Osvig, and that is the Oceanic entry point. We'll be flying Oceanic Airways, the Bodo Oceanic airspace. So we'll talk a little bit about Oceanic flying there. Not that I'm approved to fly it, but I'll try my best to explain the procedures we'll be doing. Mike 604 to Atsot. There's no arrivals into Svalbard, so what I'm going to be doing from Atsot is flying the localizer 28 approach via the Rarag transition. At the moment, I'm going to be going from Atsot direct to Rarag. There we are. Activate. We'd only execute it after we completed the route check with the first officer, but we'll imagine that's done. Right, zero fuel weight then, 47.3. Looks like the fueling's all done, 12 tons, well, that's 12.1. I think there's a slight issue reported at the moment between what the OPT says here when you ask for your fuel. So looking at the forums here, 12.1, and what's that there? 9.8. Oh, it's actually pretty close, to be fair, but I know some people reported issues, but it looks good to me. Reserves then, quite far away to get to Tromsø, so you can see the reserves are very high, 4.1 tons, unusual, because we'd have to divert all the way over the ocean. Oh, I can't remember what the sea is between Norway and Svalbard. I'm sure someone will remind me in a second. Cost index is 30, cruise level is going to be flight level 390 today, top of climb wind is 301 at 33. Top of climb ISA is -3. And let's... Oops, just forgot to execute that. Let's have a look at the OPT then. So, this is from the real OPT, so there'll be a slight discrepancy. You'll see I did this just before the stream at 20 past before uploading it to my PC. So, 19 left, of course, it's now 19 right. Okay, well, let me have a look at the runway length. 3,600 metres. Well, what we'll do, you should never do this, but the runway is obviously longer on 19 left, so I'm going to use the performance figures, even though it's the wrong runway, wrong intersection, and we'll just use 19 right full length. This should work fine. Surface wind 190 at 13, 22 degrees 1013. And optimum flat 5, air condition auto, anti-ice off, and 59.4 exactly, and that's saying we can take 22k reduced, assumed temperature of 46. Now you'll notice there'll be a discrepancy between the thrust here, 87.7, 88.8, it's because we haven't got the AP bleed on with the pags on auto, there's no duct pressure, but you should see the V-speeds will be very close. They've always been very accurate in the ZIBO mods. 34, 35, 38, 35, 35, 39, so they're within a knot, so we can accept the speeds. If they're not, we have to go off what the OPT says. Trim's 5.75 units based off our CG. There we are, that's coming in. Barents Sea, Baltic Sea. I don't think it's the Baltic Sea, is it? That's to the south, but not sure. I'll have to get my map out for sure. Miles, does your airline fly to Svalbard? And if yes, have you ever flown there? No, they don't, Miles Peacock. We don't fly to Svalbard, and I've never flown there. But what an incredible place to go. As I said, I've been really excited to do this live time, so you can see at midnight local time how bright it is. It's incredible, really. Right, so that's the FMS all loaded. Let's now do the panel scan up here. So yaw dampers on. All the flight control switches where we want them to be. Nav transfer and display switches normal auto. Fuel, checking the crossfeed valve. Bright, dim, and bright and off. 4 tons in the centre tank, so we have the centre tank pumps on. AC/DC metering panel, we don't need to touch that. IFE, cabin utility, galley powers all on. IDG disconnected, switches are closed. Drive lights are illuminated, that is normal. Seatbelt sign can come on now as well. We've already tested the attend button. Window heat on. Probe heat off. Anti-ice is off. Electric hydraulic pumps are on. 0. Voice recorder. Can't see it at the moment, I don't think, but they are. Voice recorder's on. Trim air on. Resets auto. Packs auto. Open and off. Fly altitudes, flight level 390. I believe it's 100 feet or 90 odd feet there in Svalbard, so 100 feet's fine. And that is set to steady. Right, so let's have a little look here. So runway QDM is 192 degrees. 192. I'll just set these to 192 as well. Thank you very much to Marco G, who's just joined as a member. Glad you joined the content, buddy. You'll get invited to our members-only Discord. Enjoy using your custom emojis in chat. Welcome to Team Green, and thank you very much. I don't think I've seen your name in chat here. Straight into the membership. Thanks, buddy. Order brakes to RTO. Reset fuel flow. How cool is this? I noticed this the other day. When you power up the 737, usually the attitude is off at some crazy scale here. And what you need to do is cage it, and you do it by pulling this. And as you pull in here, it'll align with your the current horizon, your position here. So you just hold it out to cage it. What doesn't ZIBO not do? It's incredible. Right, that's caged. 1013 is set. Wow, what modern. Engine instruments are set to trim, stab trim canal switch is normal, done the cargo fire test, and the instruments are all set. Excellent! We are all pretty much ready to go. We just need to brief our taxi and Sid, get the APU started. We are due out in 5 minutes' time. Let's get that APU started. And we'll call up Better Pushback. There we are, there's one I made earlier.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledge. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Thank you.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Let's get you all set there. Takeoff speed, well done, Christian. I was just testing you, 138 knots. Well done. You win today's, what did I forget, prize. Joe Dredge, who's Sid. Unbelievable. Lars, no problem, fun fact, flying to Svalbard, you will pass an island that translates into Bear Island. It used to be a stopover for fishing vessels, and now is inhabited by one sole weather observer. Cool, he's going to be only on there. I think I know the island you're talking about. Let's have a little look here on the map. So yes, we're flying there. I should think you mean this one. Is this Bear Island here? Let's see if my internet will be able to open this up. That might be it. Wow. Well, I see there's a mountain.
All doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Misery F Gellet. That's my best translation of that. Superb. Right, let's talk about our routing and taxi and everything like that. So, airport charts. No, airports. Under airports, isn't it? There we are. So we're on stand 45. Push back onto one of the lines here, which I think they're defined by colour. So you've got orange, blue, and Quebec in the centre. Likely to be left turn onto Sierra for us, and then either Papa or Victor making a left turn there. Crossing over then all the way over here via Papa or Victor, maybe uniform to cut across here. And I'd be confident taking Alpha 7. I know we've
tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
I know we don't have any performance figures there, but we could take Alpha 7. Otherwise, 40 then. We just need to brief the Sid. Thank you very much to Ollie Blocks Gamer for the £5 donation. Very kind, sir.
Hi Cap. How long is the flight today? I have the popcorn ready.
Thank you very much, Ollie Blocks Gamer, for the £5. That's very kind of you. Flight time 2 hours 45 minutes, I'd say. It says 250 on the flight plan, but maybe a little cheeky shortcut from ATC, we could knock it down a bit there. So plenty of time here for you to finish as much popcorn as you could possibly need there. Very, very kind of you to donate. Thank you very much. Right, let's just finish off by briefing the Sid here. So it is an RNAV Sid, RNAV 1, which we are equipped to fly with. Surveillance service will be available due to simultaneous parallel departures. Change to Oslo. Approach frequency shall always be initiated by tower. Well, we only have an area frequency on that Sid today. Non-RNAV 1 equipped aircraft, that's not us. En route cruising level will be issued by Polaris, which is who we're talking to at the moment. When being vectored, cleared for direct routing, climb range supply. There you go. Some people ask, why do I not sometimes find information about NADP2? Not always on the charts, but some SID charts do display it. So you can see here, look, NADP2 is used during climb out, so it will accelerate at 1700 feet, which happens to be the same height pretty much as the MFRA. So that's it. Routing then will be flying straight ahead to Golf Mike. No, hold on. I know what I've done. I've just started briefing the wrong SID. Because he changed us. There you go. That's confirmation bias. There we are.
50,
I think it's pretty much all
40,
the same look at
30,
ATP2. Or maybe I did
20,
change it. Not sure.
10.
Oh, hello, Marco G. My US members also coming in with a very kind $5 donation. Thank you, sir.
I have been watching you for a while, my uncle A350 captain. Really enjoys watching you.
Oh my goodness, how embarrassing. A skipper watches another skipper. He's probably a lot more experienced than me if he's a skipper on an A350 though. I'm a newish captain. But thank you very much, Marco G. That's very cool that your uncle watches. And not only you become a member, no doubt you could probably pass over some tips to me when I ever take out the A350 and expert level. But thank you very much for your donation. Very kind, sir. Oh my, no pressure then. I actually know some colleagues of mine watch my streams, which is also very embarrassing. Right, that's quite interesting. So I just want to double check this. No, wrong SID again. It's the FTOG 7 Delta. That's more like it. So 19 right, FTOG 7 Delta. So looking good here. Golf Mike 442. Golf Mike 442. And it's climb on 192 track, intercept 214 track, 241 track. So I'm thinking that's pretty much immediately after departure. Once we're at Golf Mike 442, Golf Mike 616, Golf Mike 619, and then Golf Mike 717, and then all the way to FTOG. Looks like it's all coded correctly. 7,000 feet. We have that set on the MCP, and we always set that in the FMS as well. There we go. So we've got 230 knots to the initial turn, and that's possibly, yeah, max 230 knots. There you go. Excellent. Weren't you cleared on 19 right, the FTOG 7 Delta? Yeah, I got the wrong chart out there, Lars. There you go. I've got it all here. Marco G, Discord then. So members only Discord. It works with your membership. What you need to just do is go to Google, type in YouTube Discord synchronization, and follow those steps on the top link. That will get you into the members only Discord. It automatically generates an invite for you there. Right, so what we'll do now is request push and start from stand 4-5, I think we're on. Helps that actually know where we're parked. I'm pretty sure it's 4-5. Yes, there we are. Oh, what was it? Oh, yes. Polaris Center, Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo, stand 4-5, request push and start.
Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo, push and start approved, QNH 1013.
Push start approved, QNH 1013. Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo. Right, push and start approved. So, what we should have done before getting the clearance, put that to out off.
Skywest 9137 is turning into Mike now. In that case, you will be ending
Just
at
control
Alpha
the volume here,
7. Confirming.
And respike your brake.
Would you like Alpha 9?
There we are. That'll be master caution, air conditioning dual please. Let's go.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Skywest
Toppy, how do you enable the analog standby instruments?
At the end of Mike, and then right turn.
You'll need the latest update of... Oops. At least I knew straight away what I'd done. Oh dear, well, I can't wait for the AYARP emojis in chat. So if you lose AC power, AP generator's on, your damper flicks off, which is correct. And everything's looking fine here. What a break. It's amazing, this mod, how everything kind of resets as for the real aircraft there. But no, ground crew wouldn't start the aircraft pushed back with the aircraft connected to the GPU, so... Whoops! Don't give up the day job, brilliant. Kurosh, how many times does that happen in reality? Not once. It's quite difficult to push back an aircraft with the aircraft still connected to its external power cards. Right, starting engine number 2. Krista, you need a checklist. You do. I do need a checklist. I've not done any checklists. It just flows. N2.
First, Transavia 17 Alpha, clear takeoff runway 19 right.
GP still connected. It's usually, no, it's gone now anyway, but sometimes it's just there automatically. N2, oil pressure, N1.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
You should have told me it was still connected, lady.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Excellent. And Bash Jessica, where's the food ready? I heard you recently in the back of the mod.
from runway 19 left.
Waypoint Rich, you've done that 1,000 times. I think you need to re-enable the yaw damper. You're right, so I beat you to it. Yaw damper, order brake usually needs resetting as well. Start a canal watching engine number 2. 2, 4, 6, 3. Disconnect. Starting engine number 1.
Smaller 122, rebar correct. Alpaca 10 Oscar Sierra, position star approved.
Perfect. Nice. Do they charge you for when you rip out the cable? N2.
That was disconnected and bypass DIN has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Thank you.
Good to you.
Norwegian people, what's that again? Good year? Is that a good day? Good year to you as well. Or maybe not good year, maybe it says safe flight. It's really annoying because the ground crew, usually when they disconnect, you know how you always say you too to someone, like have a great day, and they say, and you go you too automatically? Sometimes they just say have a safe flight and you go you too. I've done that so many times. Right, tug, and bypass pin, and start a cut-out monitoring engine number 1. 2463, number 1 is stable. Excellent. Let's do before taxi. Generators on, APUs off. Start switches continuous. Propy on. Anti-ice off. Pax auto. Isolation valve. Alternate APU goes off. And that is set flaps. 2-5. Here comes flight controls. Full forward. Full back. Left, centre, right, centre. Here comes the rudders. Full left, centre. Full right, centre. Recall. Blank the lower DU. And then you would read, if we can find the click spot for it there. There we are. The before taxi checklist there. Before taxiing. Don't do what I'm doing, which is ignore the checklist. That's don't do it. Dennis, question: does the PA analysis still sound like the captain? Have they changed the ZIBO? I want to sound like Fly Day Sim. I have an option, I believe, Dennis. You can have me as your PAs. I'm also available as a better pushback voice, as I discovered I had disabled a few streams ago. Thankfully, I have now. Then, right, let's request taxi. Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo request taxi.
Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo, taxi Lima, Sierra, Papa, November. Holding point on the bottom of the right.
Taxi holding point 19 right, Lima, Sierra, Papa, November. Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo. Right, so...
9137, Romy 19 right, clear takeoff.
So, we're going to go...
Down to
Lima, Sierra, Papa, and then what's wrong? Papa, November, all the way to 19. Right, let's go. Needs parking brake, config. No takeoff config warning. Let's go to Svalbard, ladies and gentlemen. MGS1, do you not have indications for services on the display when you control full left, full right? So that is an option from Boeing. At my operator, we don't have that option. So long as you have full and free movement with no restrictions or obstruction in that movement, that's completely satisfactory. Look at that sun setting, but that sun will not set today, guys. The sun will not set because we're so far north. Love it. So concentrating here. Right, so Lima, Sierra, so first left here. Uh-oh, no, I'm losing the plot here. Look, oh no, I hate it when I do stuff like that because you guys just take the mic. Jim, speak up. Next left is Sierra. I was too busy looking at the chart when you should be looking at the signs. Why does this flight not go from the domestic part of Oslo? Not sure. I'm sorry, I'm not that realistic. Yeah, that's why I tried to make an early turn. The actual turn onto Sierra here is absolutely great. I'm not sure if the taxiway's like this. That is interesting. Off-roading now. That is perhaps a little bit beyond of what is acceptable there. And now we're going downhill. See, that's why I started turning early, because I just didn't want to take this taxiway. Right, now we're established on Sierra. We're going to wait until we're on Papa, not the next left.
Skywest 9137 identified, climb flight level 330.
I need some fat off-road tyres for this taxiway. Crazy. Anyway, Papa, Whiskey's next left, and then Papa's next one after that. Oh my days, look at this taxiway. Like a giant diglet underneath the taxiway or something. See him coming over the crest. Oh my goodness. Tap brakes in there. I'm too busy looking outside. There's Papa, that's us then. The 737, very popular in the bush plane community. Brilliant, Icefire. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Right, here's Papa. Too busy looking at my chart. There we are.
Skyway 9137, clear direct number.
Direct number is
I will do the before takeoff checklist now. So, config we checked, flaps we have 5 green lights, stab trim set for departure, 5.75 units set. Takeoff briefing, Pax auto bleeds on, the V speeds are set for departure, 34, 35, 138 set. Departure's now an FTOG 7 Delta. So someone else was it? I think so. FTOG 7 Delta climbing straight ahead to Golf Mike 442, making a right turn inbound to Golf Mike 616. Stop climb altitude 7,000 features set on the MCP. And here NADP2. Any problems with climb straight ahead to the MSA, which in that sector is 3,500. So go to 4,000 feet. There we are, chase complete. And just get the cabin, make sure they're secure. I'd be a little bit alarmed actually taxiing this close. Had that issue in real life, but that's very close. There's obstruction here, just like some sort of tunnel, I think. Right, cabin was secure anyway. There we are. Before takeoff checklist complete to the line.
Alpaca 782, taxi stand 1-2.
taxi stand to 1-2 Alpaca.
So here's Yankee on the right, and then next right's November. Remove off-road tyres, checked? Absolutely. James looks and waiting for the Dukes of Hazzard jump. I reckon if we went fast enough we'll get some good air.
Alpaca 105 Mike, push starboard, KH 1013.
It's like a little taxi fly past. Now that sounds good on surround sound. Are you excited for the Euros, Captain? I don't really follow football. Did England not qualify, Ricardo? Probably not.
Thundercat 1-2 Alpha X-ray,
November.
Hello, cleared Aluva 2 November arrival. Expect runway 17. Cleared Aluva 2 November arrival and expect runway 17, Thundercat 2 Alpha X-ray.
There's Norwegian taking off. Right. Now I think only SAS fly directly to Svalbard from Oslo. I think Norwegian do fly to Svalbard, but they go via Tromsø. I was having a look at Svalbard's sort of departure and arrivals for last week. It's just SAS and Norwegian.
Sierra, hold it point from me, on 9 left.
What's the ETA at the moment if we were to take off now? Oh, look at the timings, 21:57. We're going to be so close to midnight local time, 2 hours ahead of UTC local time in Svalbard. Just timing of this stream is perfect. Midnight touchdown. I'm going to do everything I can to land as close to midnight as possible. Adjust the speeds accordingly. Watch your taxi speed there, so 30 knots maximum.
Good evening.
Like, you notice how the number goes from 29 to 30, how it goes smaller at 30. Don't ask me exactly why it does that. It's the way the aircraft has been programmed, but it's exactly how it does that in the real aircraft. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that 30 knots is our maximum taxi speed. Maybe it is for most operators as well, I'm not sure, but it always goes kind of large numbers, 28, 29, and 30 to smaller numbers, just so it can squeeze that extra number in once you get above 100 knots. I think that's the reason it goes smaller, but they just decided to do it at 30, not 100. Was that for me? Oh, we're going full length. I could have done Alpha.
Alpaca 320 Bravo, line up from runway 19 at right.
Line up runway 19 at right. We're fully ready. Alpaca 320 Bravo.
Roger. Bearing North Shuttle 348,
So,
report passing altitude.
cleared to line up and wait. So we turn the taxi lights off, remind us we haven't got our takeoff clearance. So MCP
Alpaca 320 Bravo, runway 19 at right, clear takeoff, and 1210 degrees, front to door.
Arrow 19 at right, clear takeoff, Alpaca 320 Bravo. Takeoff clearance received. So MCP set, transponder, TARA, strobe lights on, landing lights on. We have been cleared for takeoff, ladies and gentlemen. Togas and chat, rolling takeoff as you fly to Svalbard for the first ever time in the ZIBO mod. So all good, clear right, Jim. Looking good, and clear left. You also need to make sure the stop bars are out. Well, start the timer. There's 40%, stabilised, set takeoff thrust. For 87.6. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal.
80 knots.
Check, release forward pressure.
D1, rotate.
There we go. 2.5 degrees per second. That was a little bit fast. And we're airborne.
Positive brake.
Gears coming up. And trimming.
Alpaca 10 Oscar Sierra, line up from runway 19 at right. Line up from runway 19 at right.
400.
Watch your ears.
Roger. Small Alpha 120, runway 19 at left, clear takeoff, and
On the side.
1000.
And we can bug up now. Flight race a bit aggressively pointing down there. There we are. VT plus 15 accelerating. Flaps 1.
Alpaca 105
flaps up.
taxi holding point runway 19 left via Delta Papa November. Confirm 19 left, sorry, Alpaca 105 right. Alpaca 105 right.
There we are.
Thank you.
So,
19
we're
right,
waiting to a
via
3,000 feet
Delta
AGL, so that's 3,700 feet.
Taxi holding
So
point.
that's flaps up, no lights, VNAV. Remember, we're climbing to an altitude, 7,000 feet, so don't set standards. Engage your pilot now. Command A. Passing 4,200 for altitude, 7,000 feet. And we can now complete the after takeoff checklist. So, gears off, brakes off, start switches off, taxi light come off. Air conditioning and pressurization. Diff pressure's 1.8, climbing, auto, engine bleed on AP bleed off, or auto, AUT. So air conditioning and pressurization is set. Brake face off, flaps up and lights out, temperatures, and selecting vertical speed because we're still waiting to climb this higher.
122 identified, climb flight level 3.
So 1 to go.
30.
1,000 to go.
Check.
Alpaca 320 Bravo, report passing altitude.
Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo passing 6,200 for altitude 7,000 feet, standing by fire.
Alpaca 320 Bravo, identified, climb flight level 390.
Flight level 390, Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo. So,
Alpaca
390
set,
set standards, 65 flight level 390. There we are, after takeoff checklist complete. What a lovely flight we're having so far.
Alpaca 320 Bravo, clear direct rendezvous.
Stand by. I've done a rookie error out into vents. Oh no, that's what all the cadets do on day 1. Sorry, Alpaca 320 Bravo, say again?
Alpaca 320 Bravo, clear direct rendezvous.
Direct to... you have to spell that one please. Oh, non-vu confirmed.
Confirmed.
Excellent. one noob. Direct non-vu. Execute. LNAV available, LNAV's engaged. Anyone know what I did there then?
Malev 122, clear direct.
Sure you realise what I did. There we are, standard set. Direct to non-vu. Climb flight level 390. Beautiful. These are the ortho textures, some clouds that were taken with the photography, which is what those big white blips are. But you'll have some nice scenery to enjoy as we go further. Matt Burgess, you got it. Didn't clear the restriction. That is correct. 7,000 put in there manually, but that's the reason why we put it in there twice. Because if we accidentally incorrectly set the MCPV now to save us by levelling off the restriction. Now that is a little bit of a bug. Using reserve fuel, well that's 4.1 tonnes, so it does say 4 to be fair. But I think I did this on the test sector. By the time we get there, it will say 5.2, which is the extra fuel we took there. It seems to sort of underread on the initial part of the flight. Right, passing 108 flight level 390. Doing pre-cruise checks now. So fuel, 6 bumps, and we have 3.5 at the centre. Lights coming off. APU's off. Pressurisation 4.0.
If you're interested in a shorter approach, you can get the
that is set.
approach by Barta.
Got to release cabin crew. That's done now. Lead the passengers in. Recall. Checks complete. Excellent.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much, Triple-O2, one of my longest members of the channel for the £2. Says, hi Captain, hope all is well. Fairly long flight to Svalbard. I see. Godspeed. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Agree, for continued support. The man from Malta. 2 hours 50 minutes, a little longer than usual, but I really wanted to do this real sector flown by SAS here and sort of demonstrate. Look, the local time now in Oslo is 21 minutes past 9 in the evening. Because it's summer, obviously the sun is set. And I think the sun sets in Oslo, I'm sure one of you guys will tell me, probably what, in another 45 minutes to an hour, the sun will be setting in Oslo, so it will be dark. But as we continue northbound, the sun, I'm not actually sure what it's going to be doing in relation to our position. It won't be setting, but it might actually start rising and getting a little bit higher in the sky. And we're so far north that I think from April to August, Svalbard does not see any nighttime. It is constantly day. There's no sunrise and sunset. The sun will lower to maybe a few degrees above the horizon, but then it will go back up again. And then obviously as it gets closer to kind of November, December, the sun goes closer to the horizon. And then I think they have a few months of the year where it doesn't actually have any sunlight. It is 24 hours dark, or well, not dark, sort of dusky dark, where the sun's just below the horizon. So yeah, it'll be really fascinating to see that today. We're probably upsetting some flat earthers as we go further north. Anyway, Vanguard. So, Captain, when the ETA reads 21:58, we can expect a P8 in the cabin. Hold on to your seats. We're going for an extra lap. The Captain wants 2200 on the ETA. Absolutely. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. That is meticulous planning and preparation for a stream. 21:59 Zulu. I was sat there going, right, what time do we need to take off to land at midnight local time to show the midnight sun, as they call it in Svalbard? And I thought, if we leave at 7:30 in the UK, 8:30 in Oslo, that would be perfect. So that's worked out really well. Thanks for subscribing, whoever that was. It's popped up there. Thank you very much for Piranha 72 for the $10. Very kind of yourself.
Great job.
Great job. Thank you very much, buddy. It's very kind coming in from the US here. Of course, the time of this stream is going to be preferable to my friends and followers in the US there, so I hope you guys are enjoying this time. And just to remind everyone, not that I doubt anyone knows exactly where we're going, but if you are just tuning in, just to show you where we are geographically, just taking off from the capital of Norway, Oslo, and going directly north, right over Oslo. Sorry, Norway, continuing here, then we'll be going to be entering oceanic airspace around here. Can't remember what the waypoint is, but double check that there. And we're going to be going to, I think it's one of the most northerly international airports in the world. Whether you call it an international airport, I don't know, but it's so far north. As we said, it's the midnight sun. The sun does not set here. It looks quite deceptive, like a long way away, but obviously as you get the scale of the map and the map projection, you know, the distance doesn't represent a distance, say, near the equator there. So it is, a total distance of around 1,000 nautical miles, 2 hours 50 minutes flight time. Thanks for subscribing, Kursat, and someone, I believe, from Russia. Thank you very much. Pangarin, oh, so out intervent changes the FMC programming, not the MCP. That is correct. So the out intervent button here, when you push that, will delete any restriction you have. So as a demonstration, let's say we'll put a restriction at non-VU of 250, execute. When I push out into vent, it should delete the restriction. Now why is it not deleting the restriction? Now I have a funny feeling it has to take the fact it's below a certain height, but yeah, usually it would delete any restriction on the SID, on the climb out there, but I guess above a certain height might not work. You'd never really use altitude or have a restriction that high. That's how it usually works. Not the best demonstration. Thanks for subscribing, Fredster, Redster124, welcome aboard, buddy. How do you say... What's that, Mr. Not sure. Jada, did you watch the Azerbaijan GP? Absolutely. Well, no, not absolutely. I watched it on replay. I was at work. It was my first day back, but I watched the replay on Sky. I happened to be back in time to watch the replay. Amazing. What a race. I mean, right up to the point where Stroll's tyre failed. It was sort of looking a bit sort of set down in there, and obviously that upset everything. But yeah, you know, I'm British. Do I support Lewis Hamilton? Yes, but am I glad that he came off on the last 2 laps of the race? Well, after the red flag, the last 2 laps. Very happy he came off, because just to keep the championship alive, it's just making it so much more exciting. So really happy to have had that happen. Do I support Max? Yes, I suppose I do. I don't know, I've just been a bit sick of the Hamilton dominance. It seems so wrong coming from a British person, but no, I'd far rather see Lando Norris win now, or George, but yeah, very happy that he knocked the switch, which makes his brake bias. He had no front brakes thing or something crazy. Welcome on board, Gary Lightfoot. Thanks for subscribing. Okay, so what a great flight. Thank you. Adam, when I first saw this flight, I read midnight as takeoff time. I thought that's going to be a late one. I know, that would be. Might not do a stream starting at midnight. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I mean, you might be asking, is it a bit of a strange time to stream? Well, not really, because if I'm on lates at work, I take off on my second sector back to UK around this time, land typically midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning UK time, so there's no time which doesn't really suit me, apart from really after midnight.
Scandinavian for Mike
Welcome aboard, Bjarni as well.
Hello, clear to Svalbard. F-Talk 3,
Scott Irvine, how did your flight go? Sorry if you already said, did you remember your airline over the tannoy and not use alpaca? Do you have to, tannoy pilot voice? Yeah, Scott, that's standard. It's part of the commando grade. They make sure you do your, perfect. Otherwise you won't fail your commando grade. I'm joking. No, it went very well, Scott. Flew this weekend to Italy, undisclosed destination, and then to one of the Balearic Islands on Monday. A few days off now, flying again end of next week. But no, didn't say alpaca. Managed to say it correctly. It was on the end of my tongue once on the day, but no, I really had to take my time because it's the first passenger flight in months. And it was a regular line first officer. I'll tell you shortly about it. I just want to say a massive thank you to Mark Jackson. Thank you for the £5, buddy.
Hello sir, I've seen pilots when landing manually they trim up. Do you ever trim down, or is that not a good idea due to altitude? Hope you're doing well.
Thank you very much for your donation, Mark Jackson, for the £5. Now when you're flying the 737 and you're landing, don't want to be touching the trimmer. Same during the rotation as well. If you start trimming during the rotation or the flare, you're going to increase the risk of a tail strike in the 737. So you want to, your takeoff calculation, regards to takeoff, you calculate your trim. Remember, we're using sort of like a weight and balance system, which is all off estimated weights, so it's never going to be perfect on every takeoff. So sometimes the trim's perfect, sometimes your rotate is very heavy, other times it's very light. Important that you don't trim during that rotation until you get airborne, clear of the ground, then you can trim. Same applies on landing. As you disconnect the autopilots are fantastic at keeping the aircraft in trim, so when you disconnect it, it's pretty much there. If you're already flying, you'll find approach speed. But yeah, throughout the flare, no trim input whatsoever. Different aircraft might be different, but certainly not the 737. Thank you very much, Mark, for your donation there. Very kind, sir. But yes, Scott, very good. Yes, thank you very much for your question. Great first flight, all went well, just took my time, as did the first officer. My operator has been really good at providing us with sort of documentation, online courses to keeping us current, because we've not been flying that much the last few months at all. To sort of get you prepared here, but the key thing was just not to rush, because we've come back to the line after extended periods away, some new procedures as well, and we just took our time. We briefed very carefully and slowly. We mentioned during the briefing stage there, I made some little mistakes, just little things that you do there, but that's why there's two of us. Nothing that's scary or going to do things like that, but one of the things I did, it was a bit of a silly thing to do, and you've got to put your hands up to these sort of things here. I went to turn the engine anti-ice off, but what did I do? Turn the electric hydraulic pumps off, like this. Not a big deal, okay? The thing is, just take your time, wait to depressurise and then put it on here. It's an ergonomically designed nightmare because the two switches are here, but what happened was the first officer's autopilot was engaged, so if that's engaged, Command B, and you turn off the electric hydraulic pumps, it'll disconnect the autopilot on the engaged side. So watch this, depressurise it. There you go. The ZIBO mod, guys, is just a phenomenal model now. It's just so well modeled. Yaw damper and command. So yeah, we all make mistakes, and it's something I've never done. I've seen it happen in the sim when I was instructed. Never managed to do it myself, and I did it, and I was like, oops, oopsie daisy. Just let the air system depressurise, put them on. And that's the thing, when you've been away from the cockpit for a while, just be careful, just make sure you look at what you're doing before you put the switches on. FO found it hilarious, so there you go.
This alpaca sitting across from me left a pellet in my food.
What was that? Past Jessica? I missed that. Let me just re-dig it.
40, 30, 20,
Thank you very much, Pastor Escobar, for the £7.6.
This alpaca's sitting across from me left a pellet in my food.
Thank you, Pastor Escobar. Escobar, I'm sorry that a fellow passenger's been leaving pellets in your food. Nightmare. Thank you very much, Pastor Escobar, for your £7.6 donation. Your continued support as a member as well. Very kind of you. And I'm so sorry that you found such a thing there. Oh my. Anyway, approaching flight level 390.
396, climb flight level 370. Thank you,
Just to hear those voices. Yasmod says windshield effects not working in Ski and X-Plane. How do I fix the problem? Unfortunately, Yas, I'm guessing you're using Vulcan, which disables, is it Librian, which stops all the rain effects. Now, I do have the default X-Plane window effects disabled because I just don't like them at all. So unfortunately, you have to revert to OpenGL to enjoy those rain effects. Hopefully, we'll update it.
If you take off North Shuttle 70 off.
Large Control, good evening. Easy 31 Tango Charlie, flight level 370.
Easy 31
Well,
Tango Charlie, slow island.
I just want to quickly check the flight plan because we do enter oceanic airspace at some point. It is oceanic at Omexa, I believe. Yeah, it's just after, just before Omexa we enter Bodo Oceanic. So what I'm going to do is put Omexa on the fixed page, just sort of situation awareness.
Thunder Cat 2 Alpha X-ray, contact Iceland approach 121.
390, VNav.
Please approach
Looking
121.
good in the cruise.
0, standing traffic. Hi, have a nice day.
Excellent. Uh-oh. Lost server connection. Oh, connected to voice server. It did that automatically. Not even seen that. Not an FPS issue. Tango 314, Tango 5. Hello Captain, glad you enjoy your first passenger flight. I was wondering if you could give me a basic explanation of what the APU squib spelling, that's perfect, test is checking for during the startup check. So, here you have the squib test lights. So what the squibs are is the extinguisher basically for both the engines and the APU here. And when you move it to the test position, you're just checking the circuit, make sure there's no issues with the communication, I guess, between you pulling the handle and the bottle firing. All we're making sure is to make sure the green light's on. If the green light isn't on, call an engineer. Simple as that there. But it tests both the engine squibs and the APU squib. It's a simple test just done on the first flight of the day.
We're ready to
Who
send.
was that there, John? 2 at once there. Thank you both to Haggard, Kutch and Johnny Rad 87. Welcome both on board. As members, glad you enjoy the content. You both get invited to our members only Discord. Enjoy your custom modes in chat. Welcome aboard. And yes, to all of you joining our members today, thank you so much. If you want to get into the Discord, Google search YouTube Discord synchronization, follow the steps there, and that will get you in. Thank you very much. Welcome aboard, Nimit Degar. Thanks for subscribing. Pad Pilot, you need to ask for an oceanic clearance, Captain. I don't think there'll be any oceanic controllers online today, but we'll sort of talk through the procedure as well. I don't fly oceanic airspace, not on the North Atlantic tracks. My operator, we utilise the Tango routes to go to the Canary Islands and things like that. I'm not route trained on the oceanic sectors. I've done the theoretical training years ago, but I need to be rostered for a route familiarisation flight, which should just never come round. So I'll try my best to sort of talk you through it based off the guidance we'd be having if we were flying the Tango oceanic sectors. It's not too dissimilar to sort of requesting clearance for North Atlantic tracks, and I guess the Bodo oceanic sector. Members galore. Richard Naylor, who is, I guess, he's just renewing his membership. I think it's the time of the month when he's been another month there, so thank you for the continued support. Richard Naylor, thank you very much. Hello Python 360, enjoying the flight, thank you very much, and thanks for subscribing. Iqbal and Sam. Hello Danny and Bro as well. Shouts.
Scandinavian 64 Hotel, cleared on 1 PX approach from airport line left. Report
look outside. Do a fuel check at Non-Vu. There we are. Oh, a nice ortho tile issue there. A nice little bit of exterior music.
World Express 208, cleared repump for Mike arrival.
Nice bit of stapler view as well. Stapler referencing the fact that I put a stapler on the arrow key so you can enjoy the views if you are perhaps new to the stream.
Cleared repump for
Daniel, did you see the American 737 MAX RTO? The stopping power is very impressive. I didn't see that. I mean, RTOs do happen, pretty rare, but no, the stopping force of the NG and the MAX, any commercial airliner, is very, very good. The Brexit have a lot of ability to absorb energy and stop quickly. Shariba, when is he going to land? It'll be at 11 PM British Summer Time, 2200 Zulu, or 2300 midnight local time in Oslo. If you look at the ETA on the top of the screeners, pretty much what time we expect to be landing.
Copy.
Good evening, Anthony. He says evening cab. Hope you have a full cabin this evening. Yes, I didn't mention we didn't have many passengers. We're sort of simulating COVID times in Europe. I only have 50 passengers today to Svalbard. Charlie, it's been exactly 1 year and 1 month since I've stayed with the alpacas. Feels great to be back, Captain. Thank you very much, Charlie. Good evening to you as well, Paul Emerson. You doing well, buddy? Listen to me, break out City Skylines during the cruise. Let me know in chat, do you want me to fire up City Skylines? I've actually been playing my own separate account, Alpaca Server, it's up to at least 64,000. We'll see, it's quite a long sector, I might crack it open at some point.
before Mike Sierra, runway 19 left, clear takeoff. Wind is -0.
Seems to be a very long line of Bing map issues. Right there. O'Neill, why does the comm radio number 3 say data in the 737? So it's not modelled yet, but if you want to use CPDLC, we need to have data as the sort of active frequency. But CPDLC is not modelled yet. Hopefully at some point it'll be implemented into the ZIBO mod. Vanguard, I'm wondering if Lizzie Windsor's on the flight as well. Lizzie's on every flight. She often keeps quite quiet, sometimes she perks up. Tony Womack, hello, I'm new here. Happy to stumble on this YouTube page. So what is this video? We're live, Tony. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the channel. I'm a 737 skipper for a European airline, and I create or make flight sim content for flight sim enthusiasts. Thank you very much for popping in. Make sure to subscribe to stay interested if you are interested in flight simulation.
World Express 208, confirm to expect runway 19 right for landing.
NSE, hi Captain, when do I set the missed approach altitude when flying an RNAV approach? I watched your tutorial and couldn't see the white bar you talked about. Great question there, NSR. Yeah, so if you're utilising VNAV to fly an RNAV approach, which you typically would be, or any non-precision approach, yes, the top of the white bar is the typical height at which you'd set the missed approach altitude, and that is 1,000 feet AGL. If you look at any of my videos where I fly that, you usually see that white bar. However, if you have minimums, which is above 1,000 feet AGL, it's important that you set the missed approach altitude at a different point. So long as you're 300 feet below the missed approach altitude, you should be able to set the missed approach once you're established on your kind of VNAV path profile there. But it's unusual to have minimums above 1,000 feet. You know, certain NDB approaches, that would be the case, or certain RP approaches which use LNAV minimum perhaps. Someone's got the stapler out. It's actually my index finger, Joe. I'll do a flyby, jump back in, give my finger a rest. There we go. So approaching 10 PM local time here in Norway. The sun is still shining brightly.
Chicago 524, clear direct Svalbard.
Jaden Chand, I was flying the PMDG 737. I saw an option on the arrival for ILS Yankee and ILS Zulu. Could you tell me the difference?
Chicago 524.
Just turn fancy down here. So, yeah, different approaches, ILS X-Ray Yankee. In real life, do whatever approach you're told to by ATIS or ATC, say LSX or Yankee. But usually the differences will be so subtle, maybe the missed approach path, or they use a different VR approach. For example, at Alicante, they have several VR approaches, but they also have 2 VORs on the airfield, so one uses one VOR and one uses the other. Typically, they're the sort of same approach. One will be maybe procedural as well. One might have, vectored onto the approach sort of thing there. But there isn't really a hard and fast rule. There'll be subtle differences between the two. You fly whatever one's depicted on the ATIS or advised by ATC. Jack Games, does your airline have a flight planning team? Do you speak to them much? If so, again, excellent questions. Jack Games, on my first day back, I actually called the flight planning department. So, an airline would have flight planning engineers, operations, so many different departments to ensure that everything runs like clockwork, essentially. And yes, there are a team of flight planners there. Now, what happened on my first day back? The flight plans, which are generated by Lido, are unique to the aircraft. Okay, so when you get a flight plan, different to what you get with SimBrief here, you'll see you have your reg here. Now I just use a generic reg. Where is the reg there? Staring me right in the face now. Yeah, I think it's just this, FD2S. So you'd have your reg there. And if you have an aircraft change, so the airline, because there's a lot of aircraft sat on the ground at the moment, not much flying going on, there's a lot of spare aircraft sat around, so what can happen is, if an aircraft's even running 5 or 10 minutes late from a previous sector, they'll just swap you onto one of the empty aircraft. And what happened was this aircraft we were meant to be flying on my first day back, they changed it, so we got the notification. We have an app on our iPad for our flight log. We had a notification of an aircraft change. But what happened was the flight plan didn't get updated to the aircraft with the new registration, so it still had the original registration on. All I have to simply do is call up flight planning. Hiya, we're doing the... Oh, I need to be careful, I nearly did a slip there. I'm doing the Alpaca 303 to Svalbard, but we still have our original registration on it. Can you update it to the new aircraft? Yeah, that's fine. So they updated it to the new aircraft, and the flight plan arrives in about 2 or 3 minutes on our flight log. It's exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is the registration, and along with that, what might change is the fuel bias. So some older aircraft have a higher fuel bias because the engines are older. So you want to make sure you have an accurate fuel burn there. So yeah, great question there, Jack Games. Thanks for subscribing, Brain World. Welcome aboard. Hi, Lauren V. Does Alpaca Airways have a flight planning department though? I'd like to speak with them sometime. We do.
Correction. Scandinavian 6 for Hotel Bravo 4.
Hi Brian Wong, how do you get the 2 panel instruments shown with the ADF indicator? So this is a new update with the ZIBO mod. You get the standby instruments. Let me try and find it. Make sure you update to 349.6 first. And you go to, let me try and remember this. Oh goodness me, where do I go? Not that one. Page 2, isn't it? Yes, custom configuration, display and variants. Displays maybe? Analog standby gauges, there we are. So if I press no look, I've got the original ISFD, which is pretty much fitted to all the NGs now. We're going old school. Under systems, maybe it should be under displays, not sure. But it's been organised a lot, which is good. It used to be all over the place.
Unicom, North Shuttle 348, thanks, bye.
PG Svalbard is the northernmost city in the world. Well, there you go. Richard Daniels, hi Mr. Start, was there an issue with the stream? Says it started 70 minutes ago, but can only go back 20 minutes. No, it started 76 minutes ago now, so yeah, I don't know. I'm just checking on mine here. No, I could go all the way back, so it sounds like something your side, Richard. We've had a smooth sailing so far. Gina, hi Captain, could you explain what the mic selector VHF for is on the upper overhead panel? That would be the observer's audio control panel. So up here, if you sit on the jump seat, oh my goodness, I remember someone answered this question. I said when I go back to work I'll take a picture of it, so I'll do that. But yeah, this seat folds down, and there's the ability to plug your headset in here, your mic and headset booms in here. And you could talk to ATC, you can transmit by using this panel here, so if you hold the RT switch there, so it's sort of like a third position, third radio. So yeah, that's the observer's audio control. ENGM71, does engine age affect hourly fuel burn? Yes, increases it slightly. Just through wear and tear, I guess. Not considerably, but everything is monitored extremely closely. So they have a system called OFDM, and they can see exactly how much fuel each aircraft is burning. They know exactly what it should be burning, and then as the aircraft gets older, they can probably see the fuel burns increase slightly, so they'll increase the fuel bias in the flight plan, which is why, as we were saying earlier, it's important when we get our flight plan, it has the correct aircraft registration on the flight plan.
Scandinavia 123, clear direct Aalborg, VR, Alpha Lima.
James Folks, Alpaca's flight planning team meeting starts with let's send all the aircraft on this one leg, on this one route. End of meeting, let's go to the pub. Yes, 60-70 aircraft on a quick flight sometimes. Charlie, does ZIBO have experience in this aircraft? He's not a qualified pilot, so I don't believe he is anyway, but he has an absolute dedicated amount of attention in this aircraft. Honestly, he knows more about certain systems and technical aspects of the aircraft than I do. So I ask him sometimes some questions, or he wants some clarification, but he already knows the answer. But it's amazing. He just studies it meticulously.
Alpaca 320 Bravo, shortly leaving my airspace. Unicom 122.8. Bye-bye.
Unicom 122.8. Thank you so much to the ATC. Alpaca 320 Bravo. Good evening.
Good evening.
Excellent. Well, I'm afraid Unicom here. Whether we'll get ATC in Svalbard, I don't know. It's going to be nearing midnight local time in Oslo, and I don't think they'll have radar there. I'd be surprised if they do. So it'll be a procedural approach, a procedural airport there. Lauren V, is the 737 jump seat quite comfortable? Yes. it's unbearably uncomfortable. It's just a metal... I'll take a picture of it. I will endeavour to take a picture of it so I can show you. It's just basically it's a metal seat, and it has got like a little bit of a fabric and a cushion, but it's half an inch thick. Basically, you can feel the cold metal underneath. G-Man Harmon LP, in what flight conditions would an observer be present on the flight deck? Training, severe weather, and common flight procedures. So only really two situations. One, jump seating. You know, if you jump seat, you can ask to go in the flight deck. Most guys just want to sit in the cabin. When I started, I was quite keen to be in the flight deck, see what was going on, but now I sit in the cabin. Line checks, so every year we have to have a line check, so a line training captain will sit on that seat to observe the crew flying 2 sectors. And also, yes, safety pilot, so when you start line training, you've passed your type rating, you've done your base training, your circuit training, you start line training for the first few sectors, minimum of 12, you have to have a safety pilot there, because, you know, if the line training captain, extremely rare, but, you know, if pilot incapacitation does occur, you don't want to have someone with less than you know, 5-6 hours flying experience on his own in the flight deck. Now, after a period of time, 12 sectors minimum, where the training captain is confident that they'll be able to get the aircraft on the ground on their own if it was the worst was to happen, the safety pilot is released, and then it's just the two of them moving forward. Captain Comedy, Svalbard is AFIS, so yes, no radar whatsoever, so it's all procedural. At least the Minty pilots bring their own cushions when jump seating. They often sit on jumpers and things like that, but I try to avoid jump seating unless if I was an FO and happened to be rostered for a safety pilot duty. Pastor Escobar, do any of you, your in real life destination, commonly use Lasso, the USA are labelled as possible on our charts. I always teach my students to never expect them. Now, is that some sort of air traffic control service where there's just a ground controller or something? I've never heard of that term. Oh no, land and hold short operations. Never heard of that term whatsoever. Must be an American thing. Procedure aircraft landing, holding short and intersecting runway, point on a runway to balance airport capacity. Yeah, so you land on one runway, stop on the runway to allow another aircraft land there. I can't think of any airports that could even accommodate that if they'd allow it there. So never heard the term, never seen it or done that. Yamato 8125. By the way, wasn't today a total eclipse in Greenland and Svalbard? I know there were some parts of the world there was a total eclipse. I don't know if it was here, possibly. I know some of the members, I was looking at Discord, tried to see if X-Plane modelled it, but it didn't, unfortunately. Pastor Escobar there, dangerous. We're looking at Google search, the pictures. Yes, I can see why a lot of problems could possibly occur. Yeah, holding short on a runway to stop another one. I've never heard of that procedure. J-Dog 0302, would you likely use cell call for this route, or is that only used for large oceanic airspaces? Now, we don't have cell call or ACARS at my operator, so, you know, when we fly the Tango oceanic sectors, we only have HF radio, and you tune to Shanwick or Santa Maria when you're flying to the Canaries. And you just have to monitor HF because there's no ability for the controller to call you or to get your attention. So annoyingly, when you're flying oceanic airspace, you basically have to listen to the whole way on HF, which is a pain. Right, let's check the ETA. Oops, I missed a fuel checkpoint at Nonvu. Well, ETA 2159 Zulu is superb. So happy with that. Let's just do a quick fuel check at Nonvu. Just passed, unfortunately, so be too precise. Now, Nonvu's airborne for 40 minutes. We've been 39. We did get a nice little shortcut on that SIDS. That would describe that. We should have burnt 2.4 tons. Fuel used is 2.3, so we're saving fuel. We should have 8.4, we've got 9.7. That makes sense, the extra 30 minutes we took. Thank you, Noah. Should we go?
El Capitan. Question for you, my dude. How does your duty work? How many duty hours are you allowed to work a day? Is it possible to go over your scheduled work day to get a trip done?
Excellent question, Noah. Welcome to the rules of flight time limitations, FTLs. They're constantly trying to work that out on long days. It can be a bit of a nightmare. Well, thankfully, we have an app now. So you just take, you essentially put your report time, which is 45 minutes before your duty, and it will work out your duty time. So your duty time varies based on how many sectors you're flying, what time you departed at, but typically for a 2-sector day would be 12 to 13 hours, depending on what time you departed. Now, that is the duty time, max duty time. The captain has the discretion to extend this based on certain situations and scenarios. So, for example, to return to your home base, if you don't envisage any further delay, and beyond that 2 hours, you cannot exceed. Okay, so if you let's imagine the FTL for this particular duty, 2-sector day. Well, let's give you a scenario. Let's imagine we fly from London Heathrow to Tenerife. Flight time's around 4 hours. Okay, you report. Let's say that the GT time is 13 hours based off the time of departure. So you've got a report time, which can vary between 45 minutes to an hour, depending on which airline you're at. You then have your duty time, which incorporates the flights, the turnarounds, and then post-duty takes 30 minutes. So after you've landed, there's 30 minutes for completing paperwork, letting the passengers get off, and that can be extended. 30 minutes is the time set, but if you're still at work, that time gets extended. Now, that time we don't plan to break, but the captain, as long as all the crew are happy, can extend the duty time by 2 hours, but that time must not be exceeded. There's a hard limit. Now, if you happen to take off and use your discretion, and there's some sort of en route delay, such as weather, and you're having to hold, then yeah, what can you do? There's nothing you can do. Now, I have had to go into discretion maybe my entire career, maybe the last 10 years, probably a dozen times, 12 times as a captain. I think on a couple of occasions I've done it. It's not a big issue. You just file, you file a little bit of a form, say you do it. We all want to get home at the end of the day, and it's usually a delay or something, so it could be that you have huge slots. Sometimes in the summer, slots can last for 2 or 3 hours, and you fly to the Canaries there and back, it's 4.5 hours, so it's inevitably going to discretion. But it's a complex topic. We have documentation which is hundreds of pages, but essentially we have an electronic app, put a report time in, and it tells you what time your duty finishes and how much you can extend it by as well. Thank you very much for your donation and interesting question there, and makes me think of the topic. I've not really thought about the FTLs for months. Not had to think about it, but I think I'll need to review for sure. Thanks everyone that subscribed just there. Noor Bassett, Krumel322, and Joseph Bird. Hakan, if you extend this, how many hours you have to rest before next flight? Great question as well. So minimum 12 hours rest between post-duty and report. But if your duty is over 12 hours, you must at least rest by that amount of time. So if your duty ended up being 13 or even 14 hours, you must have at least 14 hours rest. So the amount of rest is 12 hours minimum, or whatever your duty was on the previous day. Now, I'm just talking about domestic or European sectors. When you start flying long oceanic sectors or cargo, you have these split duties, rest at hotels. It gets very complicated and complex. I don't know much about split duties though. That's one for Pilot Bike. Andy Camp, I guess you work for BA going to the Balearic Islands. Well, I do wish that you don't speculate about my operators. One simple request: my operators are well aware of my streams. They give me all the support and best wishes, especially during the pandemic, to stream as well. But I do appreciate your speculations from everywhere. Thank you. Chad Pullman, new TTS voices. Did Microsoft chain get fired? Yes. So Streamlabs acknowledged an issue with TTS where either none or part of the message was read. They are looking into it. There's been a fix where it simply said change the voice from UK generic, which was Jane, and I've changed it now. We have two. We have Microsoft. What should we call it? Microsoft Mark, and we have a lady for for PayPal once, and a super chat is a Microsoft Mark. Just a bit of banter. I could even change. There's all the different ones available. Andy Cap, sorry, bud. All the best. No, Andy Cap, no problem at all. It's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate question, and it's often asked. And of course, you're curious. I even have several people who even doubt my credentials because I don't go as far as posting flight deck videos and whatnot. But I do post the odd Instagram photo or something like that. If you are so interested to follow me on social media.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much again, Noah, for the $5.
Interesting. My company doesn't schedule pilots more than 9.2 flying hours or 14 hours total duty.
It's a very specific
pilots
time.
Can override, but minimum rest is 10 hours.
Yeah, so very interesting, Noah. So there's all sorts of different, maybe, unique rules per operators there. 9.2 is a very specific, for example, flying hours scheduled per day. I mean, yes, that's a lot of flying. I mean, most we do is Canaries are back for the UK. Some of the Scandinavian countries to the Canaries are 5 hours. So yeah, maybe 10 hours on certain sectors. But yeah, up to 13 hours. But Windows, Codium, low, and all that can adjust and affect that in many different ways. Which is why I'm very grateful to have an app which calculates it all for you. But the table isn't too difficult to use either. But very interesting. No, thank you very much for your donation as well to explain your point of view. Liam, in the cruise, what things are you and your FO prohibited from? I mean, phones, music, pictures, the flight deck, etc. So no, you can't listen to music, which is a lot of people always ask, do you listen to music in the cruise? No, don't listen to music. So yeah. Things like we have company iPads, so that is an approved device. I usually take pictures of the iPad and then airdrop them after my duty to my phone if there's a picture from the cruise there. But yeah, critical phases of flight, no phones, nothing at all, no conversation outside the flight itself. But yeah, no cameras mounted on GoPros. You can get it if you request. You can ask the chief pilot for written permission. Something I've always pondered about doing, but again, I just want to keep my Operator Anonymous is blimey, obviously who I work for most people. But if I were to stick a GoPro camera, even with the permission of the chief pilot, you'd find out all sorts of information. You'd even see what colour my hair is. Andy Cap, you have a voice for radio, very relaxing, thank you. Joseph Bird, how long of the cruise do we have left? A little bit of a longer sector than usual. So looking here at the flight management computer, 700 miles to go. Our descent's going to be at 21:44 Zulu, so an hour and 30 minutes till top of descent. We'll start setting up for the approach in an hour's time. I might take a little 10-minute break on. It's a little bit of a longer sector than usual. I was thinking about it, thinking, 2 hours 50, that's a little bit long for a normal 2 sector, but I hadn't streamed in a ZIBO mod for a while, and it's nice to, you guys have bring some brilliant questions, and it increases my knowledge and keeps me fresh at work as well, so do keep them coming in. Things like FTLs makes me think about the topics, great. I can review it later and remind myself of all the rules and procedures. Listerman's missing Microsoft Brian. Brian has killed Jane. Never miss you though. Fortunately, Microsoft Jane's not working. PayPal poorly, said Phil. Unbelievable. Guys, I must always stress, you're always so generous. Members, in particular, for their continued support. But don't ever feel like you need to donate. Feel free to ask any questions. That's what it's all about. Within reason, questions as well. But obviously, very grateful for this one. Never needed. Eric, what do you think about the default 737F mod sounds compared to the ZIBO sounds in X-Plane 11? Oh, Eric, I don't think I've ever flown the default X-Plane 737. Now, do the AudioBird XP engine sounds exactly match the aircraft? They don't. There's a slight difference, but I like the AudioBird XP. Now, sat here in the cruise here, absolutely fine. The engine whine is a little bit different, but honestly, for me, it's more than satisfactory. And the sounds, sort of on the flyby and the external views, fantastic. Really like. The clock still has a purple background. Yeah, it should be a little bit darker. It's the kind of LCD sort of display there, but it's it's a little bit too bright. Yamato, for when will you do flights on Narita or Haneda? In real life or in the stream, Yamato? Actually, Japan, I've only ever done a members group flight in, but perhaps a public stream will be available. They don't seem to post on the VATSIM's official group flights, but it's on the VATSIM Japan's own website. They always seem to have flights going on there. IMGS, again, what is the reason why auto throttle has to be disabled on landing? Now, unlike an Airbus, where you have the auto throttle on for the entire flight, it's a very simple auto throttle on the 737. If you close the thrust levers and happen to let go, the thrust levers will automatically add thrust to your target speed, so MCP speed on final. So you want to completely disconnect it. And that's the beauty of the 737. When you disconnect the autopilot auto throttle, you're flying a proper stick and rudder aeroplane. There's no inputs from any computers or anything in between. It's you directly controlling the control surfaces by your inputs. Still see, is that someone below you? It is. Let's have a little look here. Yes, look, should we try and see him from there? So he's just 2.5 miles ahead. If we crank our nose forward, he's going to be just below us there, but I'm sure the external view will help us find him. Where is he? Yeah, he's only 2,000 feet below. Oh, there he is. I can't see him from the flight deck. It's an alpaca. Making good speed. He's definitely wants to. Yes, he's on the 10 to midnight flight for the passengers that want to land 10 minutes before midnight. Welcome. That's him on the TCAS display. Welcome. Well spotted, Steel Sea. Very, very observant of you. Stefan Malcolm, I'm 8th in the queue, so no shenanigans from those in front, please. Just to see what happens. Again, this airport is not one designed for multiple arrivals because the landing will require a backtrack to vacate. It'll be interesting to see what happens if we do decide to stay online. I might do, just for a bit of a laugh. If we have to go around, we have to go around. We'll see how it's getting on there later. Thanks for subscribing, Best Cricket Club and Bigger Spirit 1. Corner page, would the order throttle rule have prevented the Turkish crash in Schiphol, or was that an earlier phase in flight? Now, we have covered this corner page in an earlier stream, and it's something we look at a few times in the sim. So the Turkish Airways landing in Schiphol, I think they inadvertently, or there was a fault, they disconnected the auto throttle, and the thruster was quite close to idle, so as they configured the flaps, the gear, the aircraft slowed down all the way to stick shaker and stalled, and then they did the stall recovery and crashed, I think is what happened there. But yeah, that was actually the auto throttle. I'm pretty certain was not engaged, so it's very important you always monitor your FMAs, because if the auto throttle's disengaged, you never disconnect by putting the switch down, but like you see there's no auto throttle there, so the auto throttle's completely disconnected, and then engaging their FMC speed at this stage of flight. So the auto throttle's controlling the speed in the FMS, which is to maintain Mach decimal 76, to make our ETA of 21:59 signal. Excellent. Alice has been disabling display names and VATSIM has taught me it's not easy to spot traffic in the air. Well, yes, it does make it a little bit more
50,
difficult. We don't have
40,
that beauty in
30,
real life, unfortunately,
20,
of having the names. It would be cool, though. Ah, Her Majesty has arrived. Thanks for the $5.
What's the most extreme headwind one has encountered during a flight? On a diplomatic visit to the People's Republic of Bedford on a shorts 360, the headwind was so strong we diverted to Luton and walked to achieve a higher ground speed.
Thank you very much, Her Majesty. Lizzie Windsor for the £5 donation, who's referencing a diplomatic visit to the People's Republic of Bedford on a shorts 360. The headwind was so strong we diverted to Luton and walked to achieve a higher ground speed. That is absolutely fantastic. Lizzie Windsor, thank you very much. What's the most headwind one has experienced during a flight? Now, I have flown en route at a 200 knot headwind before, going to the Canaries. The flight time from UK to Fuerteventura I went to was 5 hours and 10 minutes, and we had a 200 knot wind on the whole nose. Now usually that sector would be around 4 hours or so, but on the way back, of course, that came to our advantage. We flew 5 hours and 10 there, 3 hours 15 on the way back, so that's one of the strongest there, and that 5 hour 10 minute flight was one of the longest I've ever done, single sector. On the ground, the strongest ever wind I've ever operated is 55 knots. 60 knots is the absolute maximum we can operate there. I took off from somewhere in Spain, but it was thankfully straight down the nose, a headwind, 55 knots. It was crazy. Now, big threat actually, when you take off in the 737, when you get to 84 knots, you get throttle hold, and if you've already got a whopping great big headwind, as you advance the thrust levers, the airspeed's already quite high, because you've got 50 knots on the nose there, and what can happen, you can actually get throttle hold prior to actually having your takeoff thrust set, so it's actually really a bit of a threat there. You've got to be careful. It caught me out when I was taking off, but I was still an FO and the captain was telling me about it, and it's exactly what happened. And we were at about 70%, we got throttle hold, so we just had to advance the thrust levers manually to take off thrust. It's very unusual to have winds that strong, but yeah, something to account for. But, Lizzie Windsor, thank you very much for the £5 donation, very kind, and thank you for your continued generosity and your absolutely incredibly amusing donations. Very kind. Madge. 2 tons Lizzie on helium. Unbelievable. Love the new voice, Lizzie. Pangolin, do you say you never disable auto throttle by pushing the switch down? If so, why? And how should you turn it off? There you go. That's how we do it there. Here's a little auto throttle disconnect switch just there. So that's why we do it. If you're hand flying, you don't want to take your hand off the thrust lever to move it off there to move the switch down. You want to keep your hand on the thrust
30,
levers.
20,
Pushes,
10.
disconnecting. One push disconnects, and the second two cancel the blinking lights. Thank you.
Good evening, Captain.
Hello.
What causes FNAF to switch to speed instead of path?
Great question.
Can you control that? And what exactly is the difference between them?
Thank you very much for the 50 Swedish krona, Northern Lights. Great question there. So what causes VNAV to switch to speed instead of path? Now, you've got two ways of that in the initial descent. Opening the speed window will switch it to VNAV speed, and you could also select on the descent forecast page, no, sorry, on the descent page speed here. And VNAV speed is just basically posh level change. The aircraft will pitch for whatever speed you've bugged, but it will comply with an altitude restriction in the FMS, and the aircraft will level off. Do I use VNAV speed routinely on the line? No, I use level change if I want to descend quickly, because it's a sort of basic pitch mode where the aircraft's doing exactly what you want it to do. Now on approach, we open the speed window and it stays in VNAV path with flaps extended. It sort of locks into VNAV path. That's to ensure that we get MCP speed, so the autothrottle directly controls the speed we want. If you leave it closed, the autothrottle will perhaps drop below the target speed, because remember, in descent, it doesn't always maintain the speed you want. It maintains the path only. So yeah, VNAV speed becomes VNAV path on approach with the speed window open. But yeah, do I use VNAV speed on the line? No, very, very rare. Well, I can't remember the last time I used it. Probably when the training captain during my line training 10 years ago demonstrated it and said, right, probably not use that again. But we always use VNAV path or level change for years. Great question. And thanks for your donation. Super Grubby, hi Captain, have a nice flight. How was your passenger flights, may I ask? They were great. Super Grubby, couple sectors, well, 2 days back, 4 sectors flown. Just nice to get back in the air again. Nice big grin on my face. And it's weird, I get a lot of stick from my colleagues when I said this, but when I set takeoff thrust, again, after months and months, I got a little shiver down my spine. It was nice. Just a nice sort of, nice to be back there. So set takeoff thrust, hear the engine swirl up, and then a nice little vibration. I was like, yes, that's better. I got a couple of colleagues there who find that very funny that I said that. But it was really nice. 2 days where there was a bit pants in Italy, a lot of thunderstorms around, but the Balearic Islands, lovely, really nice flight there and back. And yeah, it's looking not too bad. I've got a couple of flights end of next week, and then moving into July, yeah, the extended roster is looking a little bit busier. I've got a few more flights popping up, but we just need the loads to pick up here. So, you know, we're a Flight Sim channel here. Go get your jab though, guys. Go get jabs. go get your vaccine, and let's go on holiday. And I'm not saying that to save my job. Everything, the aviation industry has spent and invested so much money to ensure that aviation is safe to return to travel. The holiday destinations have, and I'm very, you know, I'm not a politically minded person, very annoyed that Portugal was taken off that list. 100,000 people entered the UK from Portugal since travel reopened or something like that, and there was only 6 positive COVID cases. It's absolutely ridiculous. The government continues to hinder
50, 40,
an industry already
30,
on its knees. You know.
20, 10.
Thank you very much, Abby, for the $5 and that's a second donation, man.
Do you say check close hold in real life? I say that when I pull into my driveway, lol.
Thanks, Abby, for the $5. Very kind, buddy. I don't say check close hold. Someone also asked that in a recent comment on a video, saying, you know, he was commenting on how when I land the aircraft or how I'm flying approach, how I'm talking to you guys, but that is purely for your benefit. So what you're doing is watching me fly the aircraft in the sim, but I'm also explaining my actions. Now that is a technique I sort of learned whilst instructing. So when we sometimes patter, we used to patter a sort of a particular manoeuvre or something, maybe if the guy's been struggling, say a stall recovery or something like that, or wind shear escape, and you sort of learn to sort of instruct or teach in a way your actions as you're doing it there, and that sort of works well with the streams too. So that's what I do. But no, I don't say check close holes. during the flight. But I don't think I've missed a single stream where I've not said check clothes hold. I think I do it every day. Pan, go ahead and flight data sim. Not that you'll presumably need it at flight level 390, but how do you do step change in ZIBO? One of your tutorials covers it, but it's in the PMDG, and ZIBO doesn't seem to have the check function. So, yes, all the information we'll give you. It's not modelled yet here. We can actually go to 410 if you want, but yeah, it's not here. There's an option here to step, and all it is, it's providing you information based off your current gross weight and saying, right, here's the point at which you can go higher. Do we actually use the guidance of the FMC? We don't, because what's far more accurate is the flight plan. The flight plan will have step levels and most optimal flight levels to fly based off winds and forecast winds and speeds, which the FMS doesn't use in its calculation for the step plan, or at least I don't think it does. Now, what we do, let's imagine we have a point at where we want to climb flight level 410. I'm happy to do that now because there's no one above us here. I'll talk you through the process at which
50,
we do that.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much, Andy M71, for the fiver.
Most important question. Was your first officer called Jim? Smiley face.
Thanks a lot, Andy M71. This new voice is very funny. He wasn't Andy, or no, I should say she wasn't. She on the first day and he on the second. She wasn't called Jim, said Andy. I'm glad to say. Thanks a lot for the continued support, buddy. Very, very kind, and take care of yourself. Thank you. Yes, so step climb. So what would happen then? We'd have a look at our flight plan. Flight plan says, right, we're going up to 410 at this point. Okay, so what we do is we'd actually not have to set much in the FMS at all. What we'd simply do is request it. Okay, Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo, request flight level 410, 8C. Yeah, high flight level 410. You simply set it, push out into VEDS. That'll update the cruise altitude of the FMS. There we are. N1 VNAV speed, and then make sure you set it here in the overhead panel as well. And that's all you do. Moshoshu Makubu, check close hold, much appreciated, good sir. Joseph Berth, what was your favourite place you've flown into? Just wondering. Mine is Greece. Malta, one of my favourite destinations. The Canaries as well. Papa Crash says, thank you, Samuel. Thank you. Part-time PC pilot, good to hear. Work is picking up. I just booked a holiday yesterday for next year off to Salu and flying from Stansted to Reyes. I think that's Lurs, isn't it? Can't wait. Fantastic part-time PC pilot. Good luck to you. Reese, gotta go now. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir. Taj Guy, how are you doing? Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for popping in. You've been very active on streams recently. There we are. Want to go? Bit cloudy here, northern Norway. Aircraft still ahead of us, probably. Actually see him. Well, he'll pop off TCAS now because we're more than 2,700 feet away. But here is Omexa coming up. Actually, Omexa is only 16 minutes away, so we would have actually got our oceanic clearance by now to enter oceanic airspace. We'll have a look at those procedures shortly. Nicholas, runway 10 for landing. Latest meta, I would suggest runway 28. Planning to fly the localizer approach unless the cloud base drops off a little bit there. It's currently, well, what's the temperature right now in Oslo? Just comparing it to Svalbard here. It's 20 degrees in Oslo. In Svalbard, it's 1 degree. Very cold. But no, with that wind, oh yeah, 180 at 6 knots actually. It's actually favouring runway 10 now, so might fly the procedural approach onto runway 10. Well spotted, and I think 10 might be the preferred landing runway because that's where the ILS is there. So yeah, thanks for spotting there, Nicholas Hecker. Attached guy, read the comment from Joseph Fast, I think. What's that? I can't see it there. Oh, you're talking about my latency. Ah, yes, very quick. Jack Games, is there a reason why the altitude window in the MCP goes above flight level 410? Real aircraft does that as well, up to 500, I think. But yeah, you can't go above 410. You'll have to ask Boeing why you can set a higher height. But no, this is the maximum certified altitude. You cannot go any higher than this. If you look at the pressurization system, look, you want to go much higher with maintaining a cabin altitude at the moment of what's it's quite high actually, 7,500. Oh no, it's exactly what it would be, 7,400. But yeah, if you go much higher, the diff pressure is going to get closer to max diff, which is 9.1 psi. Michael Golder, have you gone down the emergency slide of the 738 as part of your training? Yes, on the initial training we went down the emergency slide. We did some pool training as well, basic survival skills, so you have to put on a life jacket, throw it in the swimming pool, do a length of the pool with your clothes on and your life jacket on. I remember doing that. Samuel Butler, is there any time where you select the N1 mode manually? Never seem to use it myself. No, you usually let it automatically change the mode, so it's automatically gone to cruise. In fact, one of the things we do now is engage continuous. It just gives you a little bit more margin of thrust in turbulence and low speed situations, but leave it in auto and it'll automatically set the required thrust based off your flight profile and regime. Brandon, in what situations are you allowed to use control wheel steering? Well, it's not so much are you allowed to use it, we could use it whenever we wished, but I have never used control wheel steering in a real aircraft. One situation would be severe turbulence, where the aircraft is perhaps unable to maintain altitude, you just want to hold an attitude steady, but I haven't used it ever in the aircraft. The Airbus button. Joseph Berth, is it going to be an IFR approach today? So we're flying an instrument approach today. IFR is sort of like the rules which govern a particular flight, but we're flying an instrument approach today. Now with runway 10 in use, we'll probably fly the procedural approach onto the ILS for runway 10, or perhaps the straight in on runway 28. We'll have a look at perhaps we'll have a look at the weather in a short while. Tom Baldock, Captain, can you explain the single-engine drift-down procedure for the 738? No, that would make an excellent tutorial. So yes, the drift-down procedure. Now, an engine failure in the cruise is a very benign event. Take your time, don't rush anything here. But what we need to immediately do is advance the thrust levers to max continuous, which we have engaged here at the moment. So it's set 101 in this case here. Engine would spool down. Now, depending on the nature of the failure, would it be a flame out, a seizure, severe damage, a fire? Depending on what has happened, we'd apply the memory items or the applicable checklist, but flying is the most important thing. So as you sat max continuous thrust, one of the engines would still be able to provide thrust, and the speed would slowly, very slowly start coming back here. And in the flight management computer, not modelled yet in the ZIBO mod, we have on the cruise page here, engine out, and then select your engine. What? ZIBO? So you settle this? Well, in that case, if the right engine failed, I would set flight level 270, bug 221 knots, and when the speed approaches 221 knots, select level change. The aircraft will start descending, and max continuous thrust on the operative engine seems to be working. All the information is correct, and the aircraft would slowly drift down. And as we got further down, you'd have more thrust from the engine, it would eventually start levelling off, and maximum altitude ensures that at that altitude, flight level 27,600 feet here, with max continuous thrust set, there'll be enough thrust to climb at least 100 feet per minute, so that's how you do it there. I had no idea this is now modelled. What the world? I need to right, well, that'll give me something to do next week. Marion is going back home next week to see her parents in Portugal, so I've got a little bit more time. There we go, what tutorial I'll make. That's so cool that that works. Now, I don't know how accurate that data is. Looks pretty good for our gross weight. I'd say that's around the altitude at which we'd perhaps level out at. Now, we do have tables we can actually refer to in the QRH as well, but no, it looks like it's all there. Yeah, well, what I'll do, I'll cover that in a little bit more detail in a tutorial, so I can explain all the actions there. Wow, ZIBO has Easter egged you. He has perfect 99, he has. Gatwick Aviation, good day to you. DC-10 has the best control wheel steering, much less delayed, laggy, and than the systems on the 7.3 and the 7.5, which used quite a lot in service from operators. Very cool. Well, the 146, it's not really control wheel steering, but that sync feature is very sort of control wheel steering-y. You know, you sort of just set the attitude you want and then let go of the sync button to hold its attitude. But no, we demonstrate, you demonstrated the control wheel steering during the type rating, see how it works, and then we never talk about it again. Very, very cool. Tachguy, Flight to Sim, how did you become pilots? How would you recommend becoming one nowadays? And would you go to uni? So, Tachguy, started getting involved in aviation as young as possible. Now, obviously, I was simming, building fixed aircraft models until I was sort of 14, 15 years old throughout my entire childhood. Sort of introduced to flight simming when I was 11, 12 years old. Age 15, I had at my 15th birthday, I had a gliding lesson bought from my mum and stepdad, and went on that. And the flying school had a fantastic little course available where basically you work at the flying school, but you don't get paid, but instead of getting paid you get free gliding lessons. But the work, you imagine you're 15 years old, you get to learn how to drive Land Rovers around, towing gliders that have landed, how to rig a glider, you know, wing walking on takeoff because you used to have aero tow there. Yeah, you know, very exciting when you're 15 years old. So yeah, did all that, got my gliding lessons, flew solo on my 16th birthday. Did my A-levels, started my PPL during my A-levels, stopped it because it became too much work because I was working at the same time, part-time job. A-levels, PPL became too much. Finished my A-levels, didn't go to university, decided to go modular flight training, that was the plan. So I started hour building in the UK, went to Oxford Aviation Academy. They convinced us that a integrated flying course was the best way to get into the airlines, so I took the decision to go integrated. So I wasted a bit of money getting my PPL and modular flying and building some hours, but it was a great experience. Got me ahead of the game when I started integrated flight training. Then Oxford Aviation Academy, finished in 2011, had right-hand seats about 4 or 5 months after my training, type rating. 10 years later, here I am. So that's my flying history in a nutshell. Would I recommend going to university? If it's your long-term aim to be a pilot, you don't need to go to university. Depends what you want in life. Do I regret not going? No, because I'm very fortunate to have gotten into the industry very quickly, so some people don't have that much luck. When I look at my friends' first year in university, let's say they didn't do much studying, but I got to enjoy the benefits that they all did in their first year at university, aka freshers, long partying, and stuff like that. But yeah, go to uni if you so want to be. Now, obviously, the industry is rock bottom at the moment. Would I recommend starting your flight training at the moment? Probably not. And I hate saying that because I know a lot of my followers, my members, are in flight training at the moment, but it's going to be a while until the industry recovers fully. Like I was saying 10 minutes ago, it doesn't help that we are being suffocated by the rules of various governments in Europe and changing it on a weekly basis. I know COVID's bad and all that sort of stuff, but let's just, we're all going to be vaccinated. I'll get sidetracked, but yes, good luck. Good luck. Right, guys. Now I was just going to have a quick break, but no, let's talk about oceanic procedures very briefly here. Now, do bear with me because I'm not the most clued up on oceanic routes. I've never flown oceanic at my operator. I need to be route qualified and checked out to do it. But no, we're approaching a waypoint here called Omexa. Now, depending on what you're flying, on what particular airway you're flying, North Atlantic tracks I can't remember, but you need to get your clearance at least, I think it's 30 or 40 minutes before oceanic entry, so you tune up in this case Bodo, I think it's Bodo Oceanic, get your clearance. And when you request your clearance, it's something like Bodo, it's Alpaca 32 Sierra Bravo, request oceanic clearance to Svalbard, estimating Omexa at time 2036, request flight level 410, Mach decimal 76, and then they'd read that clearance back. So you cleared via Omexa on the whatever the airway is to Svalbard, flight level 410, Mach decimal 78. So that's it, passing Omexa. Entering oceanic airspace, squawk 2000 after 10 or 30 minutes after entering oceanic airspace, and yeah, at my operator we only have HF, that's the only way to communicate it. Now, there's a procedure called SLOP, Strategic Lateral Offset Position, so I think you fly off track right by a few miles of your airway, just to potentially avoid any issues as well. If there's weather ahead, you can still tune up HF on the frequency and request a heading and things like that. But yeah, that's in a real nutshell oceanic flying. It's sort of based off my operator's SOPs, but again, it's something I'm not too clued on there. Matt feels old starting lessons at 32. Not at all, Matt. When I started at Oxford on our course, there were a couple of guys in their mid-30s, and both of them are now skippers, both of them are now captains at their respective airlines, so not at all, not at all. Cool. Guys, what I'm going to do, as it's a bit of a longer stream, I'm going here for 2 hours, I'm going to have a quick break, and 18 miles to top of descent. We broke ZIBO. What have we done? Now that's a gradual descent. Well, maybe if you're in the Blériot or something, but I'm joking. 16 miles to top of descent. I should think doing that step climb has broken the ZIBO mod somehow. Oh, I hope that doesn't affect anything with the profile there. Yes, now what I'm just going to try and do, guys, this is purely just to fix the mod. Let's just try and go back down to 390. See if that fixes the top of descent point. Maybe it just doesn't like the fact. No, it's gone retard. It's gone to like full descent because we're more than 50 miles here. Oh dear, that is broken. Right, let's just put in 390 again here. That should fix it. Nope, 14 mile. Oh no, that's 2 flight level 390. That's correct. Let's just get down to 390 and see if it updates there. Dramey, what charts do you use? I have charts from Navigraph. Wow, Joseph Bird, if you divert to say, where would you divert to? Tromsø is our alternate. Tromsø, which is Echo November Tango Charlie. So quite a way to go, which is why the reserves are so high. There's no other suitable airport on Svalbard to go to. So you can see, look, yeah, look, 3.2 tons, and it will take an hour and 32 minutes to get there. Flying at flight level 410, and that is diverting with 4.1 tons of fuel. So if we left with 4.1 tons of fuel from Svalbard, we'd arrive with our final reserve at Tromsø. Right, let me just reach 390 to make sure the mod sort of fixes itself. I'll mention that to ZIBO. 349.6. So climbing higher, brakes, top of descent. And why are we turning right? That's a left turn to Ansot. It does do that sometimes, a little bit of a bug. Oh yes, so you know we left Oslo. Look how the sun has just stayed in pretty much the same place here. So right to the north of Norway here. Local time is 10:30 in the evening. Look how bright it is. This is live time, guys. Live time, live weather. Eric, beautiful approach into Svalbard. I think that's why we'll fly runway 10 today, because we'll have the full approach there. Now let's see if that updates it. That's better. Well, going back to 390 has fixed everything. Right. Cool. Well, we've got another hour until top of descent. I'm going to have a quick 10-minute break, guys. Just going to stretch my legs. When I get back, we'll carry on chatting away. But as ever, if you are enjoying the stream, big favour is asked you to smash the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest content. And I'll be back in approximately 10 minutes or so. Excellent.
Welcome.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you very much for that little break. I dropped my headset. I see a lot of people complaining about mic noise. Yeah, that's strange because I've got a little mute button on the headset. Even though it's muted, I think you heard it crashing onto the floor. I hope it's not broken anyway. Can you hear me okay? Did make a bit of a crash. Thanks, Joe. Well, thanks for subscribing, Leno, Eddie Shack, whilst I was away there. And Cam Spa. Welcome aboard, guys. What a crab, I know. A little bit of a crosswind here. Only 50 knots or so, but acceptable enough. So, I think we'll just grab the weather here and start thinking about the approach. Now, I think we'll probably change over to 10 today. Nice approach. It's really nice scenery. I have the Aerosoft payware scenery because Svalbard isn't there by default in X-Plane 11. It's just water. But the Aerosoft scenery is very nice. Contains the entire island, obviously Longyear Airport, and then there's a couple of other smaller airports available as well. Anyway, what am I doing? Menu, data link, cars, reports, low request, isn't it? Weather request. Echo November, Sierra Bravo. There we are. And sometimes the earphones can act as mics. Yeah, I gave it a good old drop, so it came through, but went through the mute button on the mic. ZIBO Mod was not happy with the max ceiling cruising. Yeah, probably didn't work 2 tons. A little bit of a bug there. Lars is the only other airport in Svalbard is Svea. It's 930 metres of gravel. Ah, yes, not very usable. Eric, the Russians use the Longyear airport, and it's always funny to see them interact with airport security. Let's see if we've got the weather. We do. Message. So, variable 3 knots, 10k, broken at 2,600, 2 degrees, and QNH of 1001. Wind at 1,400 feet is also variable at 3 knots. Much nicer than the last time we streamed it here. The 727 was snowing and blowing a gale, if I remember rightly. So, QNH 1001, we can preset here. What I'll probably do, it's interesting really, because there's a straight-in localizer, offset localizer approach, or there's an ILS approach. I mean, let me know in chat what you'd like to see. It really doesn't make much difference. I'm guessing the preferred landing runway is 10. I'm only basing off the fact that there's an ILS on that runway, and obviously if we go to runway 10, it'll be nicer flying over the scenery, a little bit longer for the flight. But there's no arrival. The approach I was planning on flying is the localizer approach runway 28, which is offset by about about 15 degrees or so, via RARAG, localizer only, and then we disconnect. We flew that in the 727 last year, or we'll fly the ILS approach, the procedural approach, where we'll come in, we'll go direct to Longyear and then outbound 11 miles left turn onto the ILS. It's up to you guys. Let me know what you'd like in chat. We can always vote for it as well. We are democratic here at YouTube's Flight Day Sim YouTube channel. Prefect 99, gravel will stop you quickly, yes. It was damaged the aircraft substantially as well. G-Man, Harman LP, any interest in flying the Iron Simulation Spitfire model for Microsoft Flight Simulator? I do, yeah, I know there's a payware Spitfire available, so I'm guessing that's the one. Potentially. Could make a stream out of that, I suppose. We've done a couple of Microsoft streams off the bat at the moment, but nice to be back in here, but I might have a look at that. Hi Peter Walsh, good evening Captain, hope you and Mariana Jack are well. Missed a few streams recently, so nice to catch one again. Thank you very much, Peter. We're all still here, all very well, and hope you are too. Thank you very much for popping in live. Pierre, is it possible to land somewhere in an emergency but not be able to leave again because the runway is too short? Now, in those sort of situations, Pierre, I mean, the situation might be critical enough where we are looking for options to ditch or land where the aircraft is perhaps not going to make have the ability to fly again. So things like fire, an uncontained fire, we are going to do whatever we can to get this aircraft on the ground. Now, operating in Europe, it's very unlikely you'll ever have the it'll always be likely you'll have an option to land on a suitable airport. There's plenty around, but there might be an option where, yeah, an uncontained fire, you want to land ASAP. You could maybe the most suitable airport is only got a 1,000 meter long runway. Yeah, you could stop it in that time, but is it the most suitable? Perhaps not in Europe, but yeah, it can happen. I know there's been a few cases of military aircraft landing at wrong airports and they've had troubles departing. Thank you very much again, Mark Jackson, for another donation for the £2. What made you pick Boeing over Airbus from the start? Yes, so Mark. Now, I was very fortunate to actually have landed 2 interviews and 2 job offers, where one was operating the Boeing and one was the Airbus. And what made me pick it? Well, it was actually the operator. I really wanted to fly for said operator and fly the 737. The 2 airlines had 2 different options there, and yeah, I don't know, just honestly, when I finished flight training, would have flown anything. if for example, I didn't get the ability to work where I do now, and I only had the Airbus offer working at other airline, I would have 100% snapped up. I've been very grateful of it, and I'd probably be talking to you now streaming an Airbus, but no, just like flying the 737, that's why I chose it. Thanks to donation as well. Axel says, greetings from Sunnyton. Oh, Mallorca. Good day to you. Eric J, approach down Isfjorden is so beautiful, can see a few abandoned settlements from the air as well. Now, which approach, Eric J, will that which approach will incorporate that? As I said, I'd like to get a rough consensus in chat to see what people would like me to fly. The ILS, which is going over the top there, we will be landing a little bit past midnight if that was the case, but so be it. Gino, what would you say is the most commonplace in commercial airlines today, Boeing or Airbus? Well, they are the 2 market leaders. I don't know what the split is. I'd say it's pretty 50-50. In Europe, there's perhaps a few more Airbus operators than, say, in the United States. But I know a lot of airlines, a lot of major US airlines have large Airbus fleets. But I really don't know what the split is. Danny, I'm trying to understand the electrical system. Oh, good luck with that. I'm a bit confused with the term bus, for example, the hot battery bus. Well, a bus is just a way of distributing electrical power. So it all just feeds off to a bus and the different systems connected to it. A hot battery bus is always connected to the battery. So even if the battery's off, you still have power to those systems. But electrics is my least favourite topic in the 737. I'm always having to review the technical notes on that. Tom Bodditt, you'd like to see the procedural turn for the ILS. Very good. Geology Rocks, I currently live in Longyearbyen. Runway 10 will take you over the Isfjorden. I think what we'll do is land on 10 because it's the sort of preferred runway. I'll do a nice procedural approach there, and we could take in the nice aerosol scenery. There was the cloud, but it was broken at 2,400, so I don't see that much, but we'll see what we can. Tom would like the raw data procedural turn. Ooh, I did do that once. Let's have a look. I could do it raw data. Yeah, 4,600.
40,
might not be the most
20,
sort of CTA-ish approach, but if I go out from the beacon and then disconnect and start flying outbound, we'll try. Thanks, Mark.
Other than the tray table, what one feature would you bring over to Boeing you like from Airbus, and why?
Oh, Mark, well, that's very kind, not only to donate again, you know, but also straight after the other. That's your third donation today. That's crazy. Thanks to the £5 again. Other than the tray table, that is the number one feature I'd like added to my Boeing. What other features would I take for the Airbus? Quieter flight deck. I think it's significantly quieter in the Airbus than the 737. Space, bigger flight deck as well, more space. I think it has electric chairs. I think the Airbus is electric, like the way the chairs move. I don't know, prefer that I think compared to the wonky levers that we'd have here, but does it make much difference? Not that much. Actually, I don't think it's modelled here. Now there are some levers missing off the seat here. There's a lever there, and some of you've got the support there, the lumbar support. So yeah. The overhead panel said list them in. I like the 737. You know, it's an outdated design. It's 50 years old, but it works. It's just a great aeroplane. It's just reliable. Very few technical problems. Well, that's more down to say that the excellent engineering. It's my operator. Very, very rarely do I have to ever look in the MEL. Joe Drage, how many flight hours are you on now out of interest? I can tell you that there is minutes. Hold on. Fire up the electronic logbook. Total flight time in aircraft, so excluding time as an instructor or in the sim, 4,572 hours and 35 minutes flying aircraft. I could tell you any tiny little bit of information. The electronic logbook is quite incredible with the amount of different parameters you can record and all the different stats and delays. The approach one's quite interesting. I was actually looking at that the other day. Let me try and find it here. So I'll ask some questions. I'll sort of ask you some questions, see if you guys get any closer. If I can actually find the approach record. Now where is aircraft record by... No, what? Approach record. Total distance flown, 4 times the moon and back, there you go. 67 times around the equator. Very cool. I'd love to show you guys, but obviously it'll divulge a little bit too much information about me. There is a page and I cannot find it about... there we are, approach record. It tells you how many ILSs you've flown, all sorts. Quite cool. It's very easy to sort of fill in. Is that 737 hours? That's total every aircraft, Andy, I've ever flown. GPC guy, how many hours in 2021? Oh, that's a depressing number. Hold on. In 2021, I have flown 10 hours and 20 minutes. That's not great. Flight time in the last 12 months, 209 hours. Flight time in the last 28 days, exactly 9 hours. To nearest minute, it's exactly 9 hours. Oh, I've lost my approach record report. There we are. Vlad, my dad was 737 captain, retired in April with over 14,000 total flying hours. Excellent. Nice. Oh, just catching up here on chat. Pauks will just finish my A-levels and will be taking a gap year before applying to any flight schools. Just curious as to which A-levels you took. History, English and Law. And AS, I had Geography, which I dropped. Nothing to do with aviation. Maths and physics, you know, GCSE I got a double B for science, and was it a B or a C for maths? You know, I just didn't enjoy taking my GCSEs. I was very happy just to pass it, and I just sort of did topics which were I'd find more interesting. And now I look back on it all these years later, and I look back at what I studied. I'm far more interested in what the topic was now than I was when I was actually studying for A-levels. But yeah, if you can do maths or physics or a science-based A-level, I'd recommend it. I just did what I'd found more interesting or found easier. At 2 tons, 49% of the active fleet for American Airlines is Airbus. That's 218 A321s. Wow. Wayne, same number of takeoffs as landings. That's always a really interesting. That's always a really good statistic to have. Thankfully, mine are equal. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly what they are. How many takeoff and landings I've done. I'll double check to make sure they're the same. It should be. Hold on, flights, logbook, home, and totals.
50, 40, 30.
Oh, it's annoyingly
20,
it divides it into takeoff day and takeoff nights. We can get a calculator out. I've done 1,799 takeoffs during the day and 348 takeoffs at night. Landing in the day 1,596 and landing at night 551. That should equal the same amount as takeoff and landings, I hope. Mark Jackson again, thank you very much for the £2. Would you be mad if the side stick came to Boeing? Thank you. Not really. I mean, I don't think you ever will, but I've never flown another aircraft, but from guys who have flown other types, Airbus, they always like returning to the 737 because it's a big control column, big rudder, and as I mentioned earlier, when you disconnect, you are flying the airplane properly. It's you flying it, not a myriad of computers between you and the flight controls. So nothing against Airbus, because it is a phenomenally brilliant aircraft, a technological marvel compared to the ENGM, but yes, very, very nice to be able to still hand fly properly. Plainly, how many different 737s have you flown? All of them pretty much in the fleet, unless unlike some of the newer ones which I haven't flown yet, but quite a few. Finley Barfoot for the reassurance. Don't take a mouse on physics at A level. Well, yeah, I think you're a little bit brighter than perhaps I was at that age. Where's my water gone, guys? I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys. Just gonna grab a drink. That's better. Centre tank, centre tank. Centre tanks, fuel pumps. Got it, guys, I got it. Not very happy that I forgot to turn the centre tank fuel pumps off. Boz, behave yourself. Drop geography, is that really a surprise? Unbelievable. Thanks for the "Are you lost" emojis in chat to all the members. Outrageous. Boeing 737-800 V captain says, "Captain, report the DME please." Well, unfortunately, we're in the middle of the Bodo Oceanic airspace, so there's no ability to report any ground-based navigational aids. In fact, where was that little island, Bear Island, that someone talked about? Is there actually any nav aids on that? Well, I wouldn't know without getting a chart out. Is there... I've got a funny feeling there is a nav aid there. I can't remember if I flew between that on the 727 street. Well, I might have used INS then. Let me just fire up Navigraph. Have you flown the Max? I haven't flown the Max yet. Oh, there's an ADF. Sorry, there's an NDB on that Bear Island. So we're not really flying close enough to sort of use it, so unfortunately no ability to navigate using ground-based navigation aids at the moment. Connor, what do you think of the new ZIBO field of view? Noticed a change when I updated it. Is it more realistic? Yes, the PFD and the ND and the engine instruments are a little bit more square, a little bit more realistic here. Field of view have not changed, still 105, but yeah, I didn't really notice much difference, but yeah, this is as close as I can sort of get to my seating position. Dual flunk, I don't understand how the indicated airspeed is 236 knots, but the ground speed is 449 and the true airspeed is 438. What am I missing? That is due to something called the air density, what's your name again? Dwell flunker. As you get higher, the air becomes less dense, so there's less air molecules entering the pitot tube, essentially. So the speed we're interested in from a navigational perspective is your ground speed, so that is your true airspeed, taking into account any wind. So the wind's obviously coming in from the southwest there, so there's very little head or tailwind component, so 8 knots there. So where's the true airspeed there? So sort of a difference between true airspeed and ground speed is your tailwind or headwind component there. True airspeed is your, how quickly the aircraft's moving through the air. But obviously there's less air molecules, which is why your indicated airspeed is lower, and that's why we use Mach numbers at higher altitudes as our sort of reference. Indicated airspeed is indicated airspeed, it's your Mach number. That's the one we're referencing with regards to how the aircraft's flying. So that's the sort of differences in a very much a simple nutshell. Birdie says, haha, I live in Norway in real life, very cool. Hello Amber Life, back, caught another stream and another video. But I'm back. Welcome up the life. Sorry, so what was it? Are we going to go for 1-0 then? Or 2-8? What's our ETA now? Look what happened to our ETA. No, so much for our midnight touchdown. The wind's perhaps either not as a stronger crosswind as we're expecting, or tailwind, or a stronger headwind component we were expecting as well. Oh dear. So yes, 5 minutes past midnight local time. Get your money back. Speedbird 7471, do the course windows on the MCP have an effect on what the aircraft does? What would happen if you entered the wrong course for an ILS? That is again a very good question. There's no specific guidance in the FCOM, but I remember an engineer telling me if you don't have the course selected correctly, the way it calculates its intercept angle and the way the automation follows it, it can sometimes screw it up. Now, if you set the wrong course over 180 degrees, all your indications will be incorrect. So if you're more than 90 degrees either side of the correct course, your fly left indication, the localizer will say if it's here, fly right. You actually need to fly in the opposite direction. So it is important that you set the correct course, but to have it exactly set, I think the automation would utilise that in its closure angle onto the localizer, but that I don't think is modelled in the simulator. Russell, what is the conversion flight level from indicated airspeed to Mach? Is it 245? ATC usually use it as 24,500 feet, or it's around 25,000 feet. Dwell, thanks for the explanation. When ATC say to reduce speed to X, Y, Z, which of the values is the one used indicated airspeed? So as we're just mentioning here, at this level, ATC will be referencing Mach numbers. So if they tell you to fly a speed, it will be a Mach number. Once you're below around 25,000 feet, any speed instruction they will give you will be an indicated airspeed. So for flying the aircraft, you bug whatever speed you want in the MCP. The automation will fly that bugged speed. In most automation, anyway, not VNAV, but that's what you want to do. Andy, got to give up and go to bed absolutely shattered. We'll catch up tomorrow, making a nice battery landing flight sim. Well, thank you so much, Andy. I no doubt you work hard. You've probably been at work all day, but thank you so much for popping in this evening. Get some rest, and we'll speak soon, buddy. Take care. I think Tom Baldock is referencing the film Airplane there. William Berkeley, have you ever used the ZIBO mode in VR? I haven't, but I have heard very good things about VR and the ZIBO mod. But I'm not personally a big fan of VR. I've tried it a few times. Felt a bit disorientated, if I'm honest. It wasn't for me. I actually prefer having a monitor, if I'm honest. But I know that VR is quite an immersive and enjoyable experience. Right, so I think we'll have a crack at this ILS approach there, and someone wanted me to fly raw data, flight data's off as well. I'll have a go. If we're doing an ILS, then why not? Okay, let's switch it over. I think that's definitely going to be the favoured runway with the wings as well. No, sorry, let me just... Oh, I'm just going to check the weather on my phone, it'll be easier. Connor, how high do you typically fly manually or take off if it's a clear day, or is it company SOP to always engage autopilot? So it is SOP to engage the autopilot at 1,000 feet, but if you wish to hand fly, so long as you brief it, that is absolutely no problem whatsoever. You can hand fly, weather permitting, airspace permitting, up to 24,500 feet if you so wish. But typically, yes, on a normal departure, autopilots would be engaged at 1,000 feet. Yeah, so Svalbard, latest weather, variable 3 knots, 10k, broken at 2,600, 2 degrees, 1001. So we'll be IMC if I do hand fly this. 1,400 fins variable 2. It's a shame it's broken at 2,600, it's going to be quite cloudy. So I'll have a look at that as we get closer. But yeah, I think we'll go for the approach DLS there. So... let's do ILS 10 via... Let's have a look at these transitions probably, if you're not sure. Now, do you guys want me to fly the procedural approach via the NDB and then fly outbound, or I could just come in via LALAD on the RNAV transition? I'll see what you guys say. Obviously the routing, if we go sort of direct to the beacon, a little bit longer. LALAD will probably save 3 or 4 minutes. Benoit says hello from Brussels. Good evening to you, sir. Oh, look, I've got 2 saying LALAD, 2 saying procedural. Oh, Ingo's going procedural. I think the procedural approach would be more scenic. LALAD. Oh, right. I think it's time to vote. Let's do a 4... Alright, hold on. It takes me literally 2 seconds to set this up. It's going to be literally 3 minutes. Okay, the poll. It's going to be the quickest one there. Procedural. Or via... What was it called? Democratic here, flying at Sim LALAD. Do like straw bowl. Oh, that's so I can actually spell. Don't allow multiple choices. Create poll. Right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll only post it in chat here once. You can vote to fly either the procedural approach or via the LALAD transition. So you don't need to say in chat. You can actually run it democratically. I'll give you until 1:15. So 2115 Zulu. Captain S, did your sim crash? No, it seems to be okay so far. Let's not jinx it, hey? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Now you mentioned it. There we are, just in case. Oh no, I did spell it wrong. What did I put? Oh no, I put procedure. Oh, you know what I meant. I changed it. Oh, I thought I changed it. I pressed right click and change. Alright, well you could either choose the procedural approach or LALAD. You know what I mean. Oh. Flight deck to spell. Yep, good one. No doubt that's going to come in chat. Oh dear. Sounds finished. Absolutely, Ingo423. It was me putting my Scandinavian flick on the word. Emeric Carr, direct as possible. ETA is midnight, right? That is actually true. Sort of thrown that out the window. Oh yeah, it's going backwards. 2209. When we left, it was 59. We shouldn't really be sat there with that like that as well. 05, yeah, 5 minutes late. Not enough umulets for the finish. Oh yes, those. That's what I hated language at school. I never understood those funny little things above letters. New emoji. What, the proceduracle? Unbelievable, says Dave. Unbelievable, Dave. Right, let's have a look at the poll so far then. Got another 2 minutes left. Oh, the procedural approach is well ahead with 2/3 of the votes. It's exactly 2/3. 33.33% for Lalad and 66.67% for procedure crackle. Whatever I wrote. Bump up the speed to decimal 7.8. I wish, yeah, god damn. It won't make much difference now, but I'd actually done that earlier on. That would have actually helped out. We'll go decimal 8 to 0. So I'll be flying the procedural approach then. What I shall do then is perhaps after ATSOT is sort of stick to this routing that we have. So, oh, there's another bug we've discovered. Look at the plan page. I have no magenta line. That's a bit strange. That's interesting. So if I'm not on the legs page, or wasn't initially, it didn't display the routing. Interesting. Gino, what time did you choose across the ditch? Yeah, it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. It was around 1900 Zulu. So, guys, yes, we're doing Saturday night cross the ditch. Now, if you want to join me on that group flight on VATSIM, you have to book a slot. It's sort of the sort of similar to cross the pond event, but no, I'll be streaming that. We're going to be taking the A300. The A300. Ingo's beautiful sunset, a valid reason to throw the cost index out the window. It is at Alpaca Airways. But there is no sunset. I mean, look, local time here is 11:14 in the evening, and look at this. Incredible. Land of the midnight sun. Bjorn, you vote for Mr. Broach returning to Tromsø, I think that is. Brilliant. Connor Martin, do the red bars on the PFD represent Coffin Corner? No, that is MMO 82. Right, there we are. That's the end of the poll. So let's refresh that one more time. So in total, 77 people voted, and it is a procedural approach. 51% procedural, of course. 51 votes to 26 votes to Via Lalad. Okay, so I think that'll be the most scenic approach, to be fair. So what I shall do is, there's no arrival here, so what I'm going to do is sort of incorporate the routing here that we have via Rarag and Excelsa, and then I'm going to route direct to the NDB, and then we can sort of have some heights or rough ideas of how to navigate it, and then via Longyear NDB, fly the procedural approach. So what I will do is go here to arrivals, ILS 10 via Lon 1. Let me just execute that and see what happens. Lost all that routing. So let me just make sure that it's the correct procedural approach first. So we just want to check after along the track 298. That looks good for. It says 9.7. Oh, it say 11 as well. Well, that distance is slightly different, but I'm happy that it has 11 miles there. Left turn. Centre fix 3,000 to 3,100. Very interesting. I'd have just said the platform is at 3,100, not 3,100 to 3,000. Interesting. Foxtrot. So that looks good. And all I want to do is kind of fly the routing in via the original routing. So I'm going to go at SOT, Rarag, and then Exesla. Then to the NDB. Let's execute that. There we are. Seems okay. So let's just quickly step through the plan page, making sure that looks sort of. Oh, I've just reset my FMC view. How have I managed that? Oh, great. So when I press 1, my captain's seat. So, where's that? I just have to reset my view. Sometimes it's quite easy to reset the views accidentally. So that's that one. There we are. So, plan page, step. That's Soprag X. Zesla, not Zesla, I should be pronouncing that. NDB, outbound, around we go. Ooh. Why? So the mod does that accurately. Interesting. It's a little squiggle of some sorts. That's not correct. Shouldn't be there at all. Should be a nice straight line. And what I'll do is just change this to 3,100 above. There we go. Okay. Well, start setting up for the approach and briefing it now. Connor, do you have any 738s in your fleet with heads-up display? No, we don't have it here. Mid-air refueling advised. Okay at the moment. This means a difference of 9.711 the slant range. Oh, I don't think so at that altitude. Yes, at above 10,000 feet, but usually it's pretty close. Rickers, I was a scout camp right outside of Bodo once. Let me tell you, it's not easy to sleep in a tent outside at midnight sun. The F-16s, the airport didn't make it any better. Incredible. Jack F, can you capture an ILS if you have forelock and approach on, but your heading is set incorrect? Yes, so long as you have approach engaged and you have localizer glideslope capture, you can technically set your heading up to whatever you want. It won't make any difference. You just want to set it to the runway heading. Right, let's do it. I've never accidentally reset my views. Oh, okay. I know you're joking. Right, let's start setting up for this approach here. 150 miles to go. Look at that. Perfect. So, hand over control to Jim. Let's get the charts here. Sorry, not charts. No, what am I doing? Charts, yes, we're on the descent. So 250 by 100, forecast spins coming in now.
50, 40,
310,
30,
221. Mark Jackson
20,
again.
10.
Jeez, Mark. Thanks again, buddy. Thanks for £2. Is this your true POV like real life? Yes, this is sort of as close as I can get how it feels like I'm at work. Now, obviously you move your head up and down, and actually on approaches, you know, in the cruise I'll probably take the seat down a couple of notches, so it's probably more like that, and then on approach I actually move it up a couple of notches so it's there, so I'm always moving it here. This is sort of the approach it looks like on final, maybe a little bit higher like that. But yeah, very happy with that. And Mark, if you go to Discord, you have the prefs file, which has all the views saved. But, thank you very much for continued support, buddy. Right, 251 at 69, 200, 251 at 54, and 100, 271 at 17. That's actually it's QNH is 1001. Runway 10, fixed rings 10. For last point to configure, and we're at 39,000 feet, so 117 miles roughly from where top of descent is. Now you'll see the top of descent point is way within that ring. That's because we're flying over the airport doing the procedural approach. Usually it's quite close, but that's the reason why. So that's the FMS programmed. Let's now look at all the frequencies we need for the approach. So what we'll do, I'll keep the localizer approach chart up because it's sort of showing the routing we're flying, which is going to be the most scenic one to fly, and it also puts us in a nice position for the procedural approach. Now you definitely, most guys will come in via Laland today, but coming in via Longyear, then we need to tune that ADF because tune that NDB with the ADF because that is the procedural approach is based off the Longyear. Oh my god, NDB and ADF split up tonight. So 350. Oh, now I've just... Why does the views keep resetting? I don't know how I'm doing that. So now my pedestal view is FMS. Just reset that again. I just taught Lister it, he knows not how to reset the views. Right, pedestal, there we are. 350 then. That's already active. ADF for later, and ADF. You know what, Jim? You can even have the ADF as well. And ILS frequency 110.3.
Welcome.
Now what is happening? Every time I push 6, it's resetting the pedestal view. I didn't even hold control down. So when I push 6 now, it's going to the view I was doing. What's going on? I'm leaning on control, am I? Keep deleting the pre-saved views. No idea how I'm doing it. Right, okay. That's better. ILS frequency 110.3. Thanks for subscribing, Kingdom of Prussia. My goodness me. Or 0.3, set twice, final approach course 097.
Welcome.
Has Stapler View broken the control key? Let me just press 6 again. Seems okay. Don't know what's going on. What's our ETA now that we have all the routing in there? Ooh, 2205. Now you know what I could probably do? Let's crank up descent speed to 320 knots. Let's see what that does. That's going to bring the top of descent. It's going to move the top of descent away from us slightly. Oh, a minute. Well, I'll go within 4 minutes now. Had I realised the ETA... Well, no, I blame you guys. This would have been a midnight approach if it wasn't for the fact you're making me fly a procedural approach. All your fault. It's all you guys. I was perfectly timed to land at midnight until
30,
all the requests came in
10.
to fly the procedural approach via the Longyear ADF. Thank you, 11 Charlie H.
When landing the 737 in real life, how long do you normally float for after the flare?
Thank you very much for the $5, 11 Charlie ENG. Now, how long do you normally float? Well, we don't want to float at all. So typically, when you check, close and hold the attitude, you ought to be touching down 2 or 3 seconds afterwards. That's the sort of objective. Now, the touchdown zone is quite a large distance. As long as you touch down in that area, that's fine. There are certain airports where you have very short runways at which you must touch down at a certain point by. Now, if you're floating in excess of 2 to 3 seconds, you're floating too much. Now, X-Plane 11 it seems to have an exasperated ground effect. The aircraft, returning to work was a big kind of, return to normality. The real aircraft, when you check, close and hold the attitude, it settles down on the runway much quicker. It sort of loses that lift vector and the increased attitude there. Now, obviously, if you want to float in the real aircraft, now when I say if you want to float, you don't want to float, but if you wanted to, you just increase the back pressure. That is a big no-no. Don't increase back pressure, because all you're doing is increasing your attitude to get a smooth landing, and you're risking striking the tail of the aircraft, so it's something you don't practice. But no, in the real aircraft, when you hold the attitude, it settles very nicely on the runway after 2 or 3 seconds, unless you flare a bit high or carrying a little bit too much speed. In the X-Plane, it has a much more of a want to keep floating or keep flying, which is just a small limitation in the sim. But it's nice. It helps the butter, which you guys are obsessed about, which is great. Right, where did we get to? We tuned up the frequencies course as a minimum. So the routing then, we're going to follow the approach in from the localizer approach for runway 28, but we're not flying it. Going to go Rarag, Exesla, and then direct to Longyear. Obviously we're going to be considerably higher than this approach, which is not the approach we're flying. And we'll be arriving overhead Longyear at an altitude of exactly 5,900 feet or so, 6,000 feet overhead the NTB. Once we're there, we're going to fly outbound on a track of 298 until 11 DME. So you have 298, 11, it says 9.7 there. We can go down from 4,600 to 3,100. Minimum altitude. We're then going to make a left turn inbound towards the centre fix. 9.2 DME from Lima Bravo is the final approach fix, which is the Foxtrot 10 point. I should think that's the point of this program there. 9.2, 8.9, slight discrepancy, it might actually be the point before. But trying to identify the FAF, if you're struggling, you can just simply put in the fixed ring, or the DME based off the DME, which is usually at the threshold, 9.2, and see where that fixed ring actually is with regards to a waypoint in the legs page. Sometimes it can be hard to identify which waypoint the FAF is. There you are, yeah, the Foxtrot 10 point is 9.2 DME. So that's the FAF there. So 3,000 feet at that point, and you'll intercept the ILS. So that's what I'll do. If you guys really want to fly it, not me to fly it manually with the flight directors off, I'll aim to be at 3,000 feet at 9.2 DME, and we should capture the glide slope. So, once we've done that, the descent past 3 degrees, that's the FMS as well, and we'll be going down to a minimum, 631 feet, 560 AGL. Let's done it again. Look, when I press 1, it goes to the view I was in. I'm having a nightmare, keeps resetting my views on my keyboard. I wonder if I've knackered my keyboard up. There we are, that's set then. So 631 RVR varies based on your lighting. You have full approach lights, 2,100 meters, which we have today, 631 feet. There we are. If we have to go around, Toga once, we'll go around flat 15, set ground for us, positive rate of climb, gear up 400 feet LNAV, and we're flying the ILS today, so point number 2. Turn left to intercept and proceed on 309 from the NDB, so it's the QDR from the NDB, until we get to 11 miles, make a left turn back to the NDB to enter the hold, and then you'd do a sort of an offset entry into the hold and then for another approach there. So that's it. Max speed during turns, Cat C 160 knots, wow, so we'd have to hold it at flat 15, that gives 162. So you'd hold it at flat 15 for that initial turn, and then accelerate there. ADF DME required, localizer not to be used outside 15 degrees, either side of the course line. MSA, all the high terrain is good to the west and the southeast, 5,100 feet. Excellent, so that's the approach briefing complete. We've got 2 approach charts open for some reason. And let's have a look at the runway available then. So 2,477 metres beyond the threshold, 1,800, so not the longest runways, but we're going to be quite light today, so flat 30 is going to be fine. We'll want to vacate either Alpha, Bravo or Charlie in a very small, tiny, tight apron. So that's all looking good. And on Jefferson charts, where do you find the width? There it is, 45 metres, that's fine. LVPs, special requirements for aircraft operators, point commercial transport. Special requirements here, so there's some local unique winds here. Actually, I wonder if Jefferson have the other charts available, the reference charts. Ooh, let's have a look. Overview of Svalbard. Airport qualification, rapidly rising terrain to north, south and east. Wind shear on shore final. There is the airport. Very cool. So just an overview of its position here. So the approach for runway 28 is down this sort of valley, which we'll be flying, but much higher. But we're going to go outbound over the Isfjorden onto runway 10. And let's have a look for runway 10 here. So it sort of gives you a picture of what you can expect to see. We're expecting a lot less snow at this time of year though. Vertical guidance provided by PAPI, 3 degrees, display threshold, usable landing level at 1988 metres. So it gives you a nice picture, an overview of what to see on final approach there. Not much more information there, so looking good. Right then, that's the approach briefing complete. Just the landing performance to come. So, fuel-wise, arriving with 6 tons to divert to Tromsø. We need 4.1, so we've got nearly 40 minutes of holding fuel before we had to go all the way back here. Quite interestingly, I tankered on my first day back at work, and I did a round-trip fuel flight from the UK to said destination, the Balearic Islands. I didn't need to refuel in the Balearic Islands. I went straight back to the UK because the passenger load was so light. and there's no chance of environmental icing when it's 30 degrees. It was something like 13, 14 tons, landed in the Balearic Islands at around 7 tons. It was enough to get back. So having these sort of high amounts of fuel on landing isn't unusual if you're tankering. So obviously we need this amount of fuel to divert all the way to Tromsø. Right, so let's go into the landing. Oh, sorry, it is that one for this landing. So 700 kilos to burn. Landing weight is going to be 53.3. Surface wind variable at 3 knots, we'll call that. Oh, you can't put a minus in the mod, can you? No, I'll just leave it at 0 then. Temperature was 2. QNH was 1001. No reverse credit. There we are, flap 30, order brake 3, and that looks pretty much where Alpha was to vacate, so we'll use that there. And we'll go wide reverse, last flight of the day. Checks complete. Runway's uphill. I don't think the ZIBO landing performance calculator takes slope into account, unfortunately, but that obviously improves landing performance. Connor, on a runway like Leeds, where the runway is bumpy and slopey, would you hold the nose gear down after 80 knots to help stop the nose rising and smacking into the ground? No, 80 knots you release forward pressure. Now, X-Plane 11 and sloping runways, sort of when it's a little bit exaggerated because it's not a smooth slope, so when you go over those bumps the nose wheel sort of like floats gently down and then bounces on its strut, then bounces up and down. It's not that realistic. So it's again a slight limitation in the sim, but yeah, it's just I've noticed on takeoffs on bumpy runways in the sim, if you go over a little bump you can hear the nose wheels completely off and it gently floats down. It does, you know, you don't get runways that bad. Leeds is pretty lumpy, but it's not that bad. Tom Baldock, temperature error correction for the MD8, only when the outside air temperature is below 0 degrees, Tom. Don't need to make temperature corrections above 0. And it makes no difference in the mod or in X-Plane 11 because temperature altimetry error is not modelled. Hakan, just looking back here at some of the questions in chat. I have to attend strike duty tomorrow here in Norway. The teachers and nurses must get a higher salary. Have a safe landing, mate. Alright, good luck with that, Hakan. Thanks for tuning in if you haven't left yet. Ingo, circle to land. That should get you down in time. We could have actually done 2-8 with the circle to land, but it's probably unavailable. Yeah, oh no, you can, but you have to circle to the north. We could have actually done a circle to land onto 10, that would have worked. So breaking off and then... Oh, I'm not going to brief it all there. Anyway, 320 knots descent, that should get us down a little bit quicker. Ooh, look, I've managed to get a little bit of time back, 22.03. Reset MCP altitude, yep, we'll do that just prior to top of descent. There's no ATC, unfortunately. Oh, 7 of you joined me on this sector, very cool. Well, thank you for staying up so late as well. Avex, how long until ETA? We'll be landing at, what was that, 27 minutes. 27 minutes. Rich Kapoor says, hello from Wisconsin, USA. Good afternoon to you, sir. Waypoint Richie, are there any considerations to fuel temperature to make when landing here? Not really, Waypoint Richie. What we're concerned about is the temperature of the fuel in the tanks, which at the moment is minus 29. It's pretty cold, actually. When it gets sort of approaching minus 40, the minimum temperature is minus 43. We want to start thinking about warming up the fuel. We could do that two ways. One, by descending to warmer air, or B, actually flying faster. Now, what shouldn't happen is, you see your total air temperature, which is the temperature corrected for compressibility, or ram rise, from the friction of the air, is minus 28. The fuel tank temperature should never get below this, and minus 29. You can see the temperature. ZIBO's model of this shouldn't be any less than that, which it isn't, minus 29. And there's also, I remember checking, you know, if you slow down or accelerate, you'll see the TAT change from the friction, from the heat or the friction. Anyway, there we are. Reset MCP altitude, 5 miles top descent. So what we'll do, I've got no reference altitude here, so I'll just go down to 120 initially, and then we'll go down to 5,000 feet on that sector. So long as I set a lower altitude, the aircraft will start descending. Now, what I'll do is just close the speed window here, and remember we've got a target descent speed of 320 knots. So what it will do initially is it will descend at, let's bug in decimal 78 here. It's not like that. Should accept a slash, I think. So I've told it to maintain decimal 78 in the descent, and obviously as it maintains decimal 78, the indicated airspeed will increase until we get to 320 knots. We'll see how the mod behaves here. Anyway, top of descent's a chat. We're finally descending into Svalbard. I hope the clouds clear up a little bit. So when you're flying kind of decimal 78 or high, just got to be a little bit careful. Remember, it's not flying a target. It has a target speed, but it's following the path only, so it can put you into MMO. So you've got to be a bit careful with VNAV. Here we go. Dwar says, when do you ever change the main panel DU and lower DU from normal to anything else? When you have a display failure. So if the PFD fails, or the display that displays the PFD automatically moves to the ND screen, and then if you want to have the ND come up somewhere else, you can display it on different displays, but that's if the display fails, which I've never had happen. But we have a curious checklist for it. Mircha, in real life, do you set vertical speed at top of descent or just let it dive? Depends. If you request descent just prior to top of descent, just leave it in VNAV and just let it descend on that profile. Rich, do you stream primarily on YouTube or use any other platforms also, like Twitch? I do everything on this YouTube channel. So best way to stay up to date is subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification. I only stream and release content on this YouTube channel. I have social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, but that is just to promote the channel, and I do now pretty much every stream always post on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter when I am streaming. Anytime, Dwell. Dwell Flunker. You only need to post it once though. I was scrolling through chat, saw you asked about 2 or 3 times, maybe at least twice. I do my best to try and answer as many queries as possible. Oh, Jack's barking. Can you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, he's barking at. So a little bit of land below us there. So you can see, look, just looking back in the aircraft here, just making sure Jack wasn't barking at an intruder. It's gone to FMC speed, it's dropped below 15 knots below its target speed, which is completely normal. Oh look, why none of you said bank angle to 10 degrees all day? Look at me, there all day. Been testing, you see. Yes, it's dropped below its target speed, so it's gone from FMC speed to AD thrust. That's completely normal. No problem, Dwell, Flunker, apologies then, it's fine, it's fine.
40,
Just try and keep
30,
chatters
20,
as professional
10.
and as normal as possible. I have some fantastic moderators who make sure everything is kept to point. Thanks, Waypoint Richie.
for the Leopac Fund. Thanks for another informative stream and happy landings.
Thank you very much, Waypoint Richie, for the £5. Very kind. Let's see what we can pull out of the bag. We'll pull out the hat today. Thank you very much for your continued support, buddy. Did you guys actually hear Jack barking? How you doing, Will Edwards? Thanks a lot for the Jack emojis. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Alfie. It's my birthday tomorrow. Why not celebrate by watching the captain fly this magnificent bird? Thank you. Beklicum Misudui. Sorry, I've completely butchered your name there. Why does the windshield become grey sometimes in the ZIBO? Is it a bug? I think what you perhaps might need to do there is turn on the window heat. It's sort of simulating the window misting or icing. It's not how it exactly works, but it's sort of simulating that. That's what you need to do. Yeah, it's struggling to fly its target speed here a little bit. So we're in arm. What I'm going to do is add thrust manually, just to get the aircraft to accelerate back to its target speed. And then we'll carry on descending to 190. Now again, a massive... I know a lot of people join in on the VATSIM flight here, but there's no ATC flying at a procedural airport like this. There's not much benefit for me staying online, because there's no one to coordinate us or traffic, and I've just had a look on the VATSIM map. There's several aircraft coming in all different directions, landing at probably different runways, so without ATC, and I know people join in and I hate doing it, but I will be disconnecting just to keep everything on the right track there. And it happened when I last came in here. It's just keep it all. You guys want to see me fly a raw data approach, having to deal with non-controlled traffic would be a problem. Right, anyway, we'll turn the music off for now and start looking at this beautiful scenery here. It's there is, for the first time we've seen it. Oh, I keep banging my head on the roof. There is Svalbard. Oh, why is the cloud increasing? It'd be lovely to turn the live weather off, but there we are. Land of the midnight sun. 15 minutes till midnight, and look at the scenery out there. Absolutely spectacular. Kenny Wells, my birthday tomorrow. Right, okay. Happy birthday to you as well. Keep it calm in chat. We're sure you're very excited. Look at that view. Amazing. Why did why clouds just keep appearing? I'm looking at the beautiful scenery and clouds just pop in. There we go. Pan Anonymous pointed out above the taxiway alpha is for code Alpha and Bravo aircraft. What a spot! And that is why you should always brief very carefully. Taxiway alpha, code Alpha and Bravo aircraft only. Brilliant. That is not suitable for a 737. We're category C aircraft. We've got to vacate at Bravo and Charlie. Well done, Anonymous. Very well spotted. Of course. Only testing you. They keep putting clouds in front of me. I keep looking out the window and then clouds appearing. There we are. Wow, beautiful approach. Right, 1,000 feet to go. What I'm going to do now is step down to MSA for that sector, which is 5,100 feet. And we'll set the local QNH, which, if it hasn't changed... Just having a quick look at the METAR. Still loading here. 1001 it still hasn't changed. So QNH 1001 set, passing 18,000, 5,100 feet, and the standby altimeter is also set. And VNAV should decelerate to 220 knots for us by the NDB. But also, what I want to do is also bring that speed way back below 220 knots. By the time I get to Zesla. Now that might throw VNAV off a little bit there. Yeah, 1,800 feet high, not a problem. So I'm going to go level change. 320 knots, bring out the speed brake as well. And that's my fault because I told it now I want to bring the speed all the way back to 220 knots at Zesla. Gives us a bit of it. Who's drawing the clouds? Someone keeps putting a cloud in the way every time I look. What's going on? 6,000 feet. Yeah, 5,500 feet. Well, clouds, I suppose, make it look a little bit nicer. Damn you, active sky. So approaching the decel point, that's from 320 to 220, and we've also captured our profile again. Now these sort of rates of ascent, 320 knots of speed brake, quite normal. You'd expect to see around 4,500, 5,000 feet per minute. goes VNav. Just get the speed brake out a little bit longer just to help it. There we are. Speed brake stowed. Active Sky's trolling you. I know it is 2 tons. This amazing approach, and it keeps putting a long cloud in the way. Ah, there we are. Look at that, and that's why it's so important to respect MSA's minimum heights. Look at the high terrain around here. Johnny, you once flew from Svalbard to Tromsø. Very cool. Was that with Norwegian? Look at that. That's an incredible view. Ooh. Now, why is VNav not... Right, bit of a bug here. We only have 8 miles. And, oh, what's happened to VNav? We were on profile, and now we're 1,400 feet low. Jeebus. Right, okay, well... let me just go lower. I'm going to have to bring the speed back manually to 220 knots. Level change. Very unusual. What is it doing? Yeah, a little bit of an issue with VNav there. Right, it's 500 feet per minute, 220 knots. Bring the speed brake out. There we are. Right, controlling altitude, speed as well. Yeah, VNav went from on profile to 2,300 feet below profile. That was a bit strange. Right, post-cruise checks coming up then. So fuel, 4 pumps, and we have 6.3 on board. Lights. Logo APUs off. Pressurization 3.0 and set a bit there. Seatbelts on, recall, checks complete. Oh dear, yeah, a bit of a wobbly one with ZIBO there. Turtle Dog, you plan on streaming Microsoft Flight Simulator 2022? My last 2 streams are in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but predominantly Stream Expert 11 because it has the best 737 available. Well, that profile was just bonkers. Yeah, look, we're still 19 miles away, so 9,000 feet makes far too low. So we'll just use vertical speed here. At least we can have a sort of scenic approach here. And 4 minutes late for our ETA. Still got the speed brake out. That's a noob error. Right, so we can now step down to the platform altitude for the NDB because we'd be on the final approach for the localizer here. So we'll go down to 4,600 now. Still 176, we'll just slow down early. There we are. What weather do you use? Active Sky. Live weather, live time at the moment. Local time here in the evening is 10 to 11. 10 minutes to midnight here. Live time right now, and it is still very bright. What a beautiful approach. Amazing to have so many people in watching as well at this time. Like 450. It's nearly midnight. Most of my viewers are in Europe, so thank you so much for staying up to watch. Tom, when you got to 2,000 feet low, you had the speed brake extended. Yes, because if you remember rightly, the profile said we were on profile, but I was doing 320 knots, and I wanted to bring the speed to 220 knots. It then went from being on profile to 2,000 feet low. And because I'm in a desktop simulator, I can actually physically see where I have left the speed brake, so it is easy to forget. Especially when it starts braking and doing weird stuff. Look at that. Charlie, US fan is here. Excellent. Got lots of people in from the US today as well. Great time for you. Active Sky. Why are you drawing clouds? I've never seen it sort of draw clouds like that before. Oh my god, look at it. That's really annoying. I've never seen Active Sky do that. It sort of reloads the clouds in every 20 minutes, but look, they're just literally popping in randomly. It's not updated or changed anything there. Oh my goodness me, look. Oh. Is this all Ortho's DLC? No, this is our Aerosoft's Svalbard plugin. What? I'm really unsure what's going on with the clouds in Active Sky. Such a shame. Such a shame. They're just randomly drawing them in places all the time. Why is Active Sky drawing straight pipe clouds everywhere? I know, it's popping them in left, right and centre. Anyway, you're about to go right over the top of the airport. There it is. Getting trolled by Active Sky. Disable active sky. You know what? I'm half tempted to, because the winds are calm and it's just broken cloud. Should we get rid of it? And it's 1001. All I just need to do is do it. What do you reckon, guys? Should we get rid of it? Because the weather is just going all over the place. There is the airport again, coming back into view. I don't know. I've never seen it do that before. VNav back on profile. Why are we accelerating to 250 knots, ZIBO? I said 220 knots or below at the last waypoint. Oh dear, it's a little bit buggy, I'm afraid, guys. Level VNav at the moment. Get rid. Okay, let me just get rid of active sky. Let me just. It's especially on this approach here. Yes, quit. 1013. Just need to set the pressure. That's better. 1013, level change, that's much better. Ah, the performance has improved considerably now as well. I can already feel that. One thing I found was that clouds have a massive FPS impact. 60 FPS now. Right, level change to 20. So we're about to go directly overhead the beacon. Ah, look at that. Why did I not turn that off sooner? Amazing, isn't it? That's weird what this guy's doing. There we go, look. And what was the name of this sea again? This area here? Can't remember what was being advised. Right, you guys want me to hand fly this flight directors off, yes? Whoever says yes first, I'll do it. I'll try to. Oh, I need a chart up in front of me though, that's the only problem. Sort of to reference the altitude, so we can go down to, well no, it should be easy enough, down to 3,100 feet now. I don't need any charts there. The missed approach altitude for later is 4,600 feet. Icefire says yes, right. Disconnecting, and let's do it properly then. Everything off. Oh my goodness, man. Right, disconnecting autopilots, disconnecting auto throttle. Flight directors are off and recycled. I am hand flying with no flight directors. I'm going to set the runway QDM now straight away. It's perfectly in trim. 097. Welcome. Welcome to whoever that is. And what I'm going to do now is select flap 1 and bug the flap 1 speed. Start slowing down a little bit earlier. Aircraft's going to balloon. That's why Expert 11 is incredible, because it simulates all of these effects from reconfiguring the 737. Flap 1, you get this balloon. Rate of descent decreases. There's flap 1 speed on 180 knots. Flap 5 getting a bit high here. There's that balloon again. See how the aircraft balloons? You have to pitch nose down and trim. I'm just going to keep this on the horizon here. We've got the tail of the NDB here as well. So that's also on the required track. What was the outbound track? 298, that's good. Right, so there's the flap 5 speed. Well, actually, I'm going to maintain 180 knots with flap 5. So I'm just trimming to get that speed all set. This should be interesting. Good luck, we're all counting on you, thank you. Well, yeah, I'm glad I turned the active sky off. Those clouds are weird. That's really strange. I'd be interested to know, especially if the members have had issues with that. I've never seen the clouds. I see them redraw themselves every kind of 30 minutes or whatever it is when the weather updates. But I've never seen it just draw clouds like that randomly. Is increasing the flaps in the yellow bar perfectly safe? Absolutely, yeah. You can extend flaps 1 through to 5 up to 250 knots. So bugging in the amber margin band is completely fine. Right, approaching 11 miles. You can check that on the charts there as well. Where's the DME here? So I'm not going to use the FMS. You know, I should be. There we are. EFIS mode nav frequency disagree. It's got the courses differently. That's why. That's the one I should be using, but I don't have the ADF displaying there. I'll just keep it off. Normal there. So waiting for 11 DME. Just watching the rate of descent there. Remember, 3,100 the platform. I'm really low here. And well, it's saying I'm going to wait until 11 DME, not the magenta line and the ND, so we'll do it properly here. So Just adding thrust there to maintain 180 knots. There's 11 miles pretty much, so starting that turn now to final. Just want to vary, yeah, the 700 feet below profile, so that's fine, so long as I don't go below the platform altitude of 3,100, that's fine. Very low though, so we'll be just accepting the glide slope from above. Not the best CDA I've done, so I'm just sort of going to maintain 3,500 feet here. There we go. Beautiful scenic approach. So I'm not going to really follow that magenta line. I'm just going to set a sort of intercept heading for the localizer. There's no point setting anything on the... well, actually, I'll keep the flight directors completely off. There's no point setting anything on the MCP because it won't work with the flight directors off. So you can't. There's no point. You can't arm the localizer. You can't arm the glide slope. So you can see, look, glide slope is alive. It's just going alive there, but a little bit low on profile. That's fine. Damn it. So, sorry for my CDA. Left view, I really can't do much hand flying a single pilot with no guidance, but there is the runway. Unfortunately, as we've turned active sky off, the water goes very flat, boring in X-plane. To use the flight path vector, no. Oh dear. Try and just maintain 3,500. Well, what we'll do, we'll descend down to the platform altitude of 3,100. Localizer's alive. Look at my speed maintained. I'm very happy with the fact I've nailed 180 knots. So that final approach track was 097. Okay, so glide slope capture as well. So localizer glide slope capture at the same time. And 097. So just a little bit left of the localizer. Honestly, like hand flying like this in the sim, in the desktop sim, it's slightly easier to do this in real life because you just got a little bit more control. I'm using a little tiny joystick thing on the thrustmaster. It works out okay. Right, bug the flat 5 speed now. Looking good though. A little bit left there of centre line, so I'm going to just fly a track of 098 to get back onto the localizer. Just very small inputs, slowly going back to the flat 5 speed. There we are, that track should get us back on the centre line. Glide slope's just a little bit above it, so let's fix that. Let's increase that rated centre around 1,100 feet. No more than that. You don't really want to be doing more than 1,000 feet per minute to be fair actually. So let's go to 1,000 feet per minute to get back onto the glide slope. Speed's nicely plugged in. Remember, this is just completely manually flying now. Glide slope's very nicely coming in. On the speed brake, and before we start configuring, just get the start switches to continuous. This is going to help me out later. Watch that rate of descent. Bug the final approach speed now and start configuring to land. So gear down, flat 15, landing check. So start switch which we did place in continuous, recall check, speed brake, arm green light, landing gear, down 3 green, auto brake is set to 3 and just holding on flaps 30. So now I'm really bringing my scan outside, not really looking at the instruments anymore. Pappy's 2 whites, 2 reds. Well, I was going to say I'm not really looking at the instruments, so I'm not primarily referencing it, I'm looking outside now. So, flaps, 30-30. I can't actually check the FMS hand flying in a desktop sim, but it was 30 planned. And we have the green light, landing lights on, checks complete. There we are, so target rate to set around 140 knots, about 700-800 feet per minute to stay on the glide slope. So just a tiny bit high, localizer's nailed, speed's bang on, so back to our target thrust setting now. We're quite light, so probably about 54-55% should be sufficient. And just a tiny bit high on the glide slope, but again the Pappies is the main thing we're referencing visually, and then it's showing 3 whites actually now, so yeah, let's just increase that rate of descent. No more than 1,000 feet per minute needed.
1,000 feet stabilized, Mr. Approach altitude set.
Are you sure the Mr. Approach altitude's set, Jim? 4,600 feet. Get your landing rate guesses in. Let's see what we can do. A little bit left to centre line. Speed's good. On approach on the line slope. Perfectly in trim. Checked.
Minimum.
Continue. Oh, I forgot to say congratulations, it's midnight, everyone. Well, not congratulations. It's 2 minutes past midnight, 2 minutes late. Oh dear. Not bad though. I'll accept 2 minutes with the approach change. Right, a little bit high there. Whoops. Just 1,000 feet. There we are, back on profile, looking good.
400.
Checked. No excuses though, with no weather on.
300.
Checked. A little bit left of centre line here. Keep it descending. There's a big pole there, it's not hit there.
200.
Keep it coming down. A little bit high.
50. 40. 30.
Check.
20, 10.
Close. Hold that attitude. Oh, I know it's there. I know it's there. Oh, speed breaks up. Idle reverse. 20%. 100 knots. 80 knots. Remember, can't take alpha.
80 knots.
Manual braking. And 60 knots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Svalbard with a nice buttery landing. Lovely, lovely flight. And here's Bravo. Well, I'm sorry about the weather, but turning it off was a fantastic idea. There we are, let's take this left here at Bravo. Very short taxi. I'll get that APU started straight away. Yeah, we'll be departing here again soon. I want to do another stream with the 727. We've got a 727 we left here. So I want to do a stream leaving here. Right, let's have a look here at the charts. Where are we going to park the beast? I don't even know where the stands are. I think we'll just park it over here to the right. Maybe the left. Where's the terminal? Such a dinky little airport here. Well, let's take a left. That's speed ramping stuck. Little motor there. Thanks for all the lovely comments in. I look forward to reading some of these shortly. I'm actually going to turn Active Sky back on. The reason is I quite like to have the water effects on the replay. It should display if I have Active Sky on. Even though it was rubbish on the approach with the clouds being drawn randomly. Right, let's just park it. Oh look, there's some people in the terminal waiting for us. Oh yes, so she's going to put the wing very close to the terminal here, so definitely want marshalling guidance. Let's park it right here. And look at this, local time 5 minutes past midnight, and look how bright it is. I'm sure if you check a webcam of Svalbard right now, it'll be just like as you see in the simulator. Excellent, APU's available, so on the bus. We're not in freezing conditions, it's very cold, but there's no moisture or signs of any puddles or anything like that, standing water, so not in icing conditions. Water brake 2 off, probably missed a few other things as well. Straight to steady. Anyway, we'll shut the engines down. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, welcome to Svalbard. Local time, 5 minutes past midnight. Land of the rising sun. There we are. Great to finally put the ZIBO mod here as well. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I can't remember how much this scenery is from Aerosoft. I bought it a year ago or so because remember Svalbard isn't included in X-Plane 11, but it is a nice purchase. We've got the entire island covered. About 40 or 50 quid or so. I can't believe the butter. Nice and smooth. Ooh, look at all the landing rate guesses. All plus 100, nothing less than 100. Oh no, lowercase Sam said minus 95, thank you. No one guessed as low as we managed today. But as I was mentioning earlier, the real aircraft does settle down a lot easier than we did here. Oh yes, nice butter, very nice indeed. Thanks, beautiful landing, thanks Bjorn. Buttered the biscuit, it was all very good. Oh, Eric J missed it now, oh sorry man, replay will be available. Very, very cool. Turtle Dog 300, what licenses do you need to fly commercially to earn money? CPL, the minimum. Very cool. Nice stream, thank you very much, Rotafib. Glad you enjoyed it. 10 out of 10 would remove clouds again. Thanks, Listermin. Yeah, really interesting. I've never seen that happen with the clouds. Kieran Harvey, hope you're doing well, buddy. I haven't heard from you in a while. Atlas would be good. Nice circling approach procedure. Cookie would approve. That is somewhere that that has been mentioned before. I'll perhaps look at that for the future. Are you real butter? Said Ramen Noodles. Thanks, Captain. Thanks, Wayport Richie. And Geology Rock said, great stream. Thank you. The series is very impressive. I know. Yes. Aerosoft. I don't have a relationship with them, so I bought it myself. It's about 40 or 50 quid, but a nice addition to the scenic library for sure. I mean, and you can have a look here, minus the clouds which are spawning randomly everywhere. But yeah, I mean, just around the airport looks stunning. But that's the entire island included, with the scenery there. Right, well, I know what you guys would like to see. We'll turn down the music here and cue the funky replay music. What a lovely little stream that was, and I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Right, so here we go. Excellent. Let's put ourselves in a nice position here. So here we are from the threshold. Speed it up slightly. Charlie, you're a legend for doing this for US viewers. Well, I do try and shake it up a little bit, so I know this time is quite good for guys on the US coast, on the East Coast to see here. But no, the timing of this was pretty nice for the midnight landing as well, so I'll try my best to include as many people as possible. Turn the funk down. Nice check, close. The real aircraft would have touched down now. It was, yeah, just held that attitude nicely. There's a speed race going up. From this perspective. Now on the cruise ship moored in the bay. Very cool. That's where we're going. Yeah, I like the procedural approach. It's a nice demonstration. Got a bit low on the downwind leg, but as long as you don't go below your platform heights, that's fine. And then there was a little bit of a wobble with VNAV on that approach. It seems like changing altitudes and approaches might be throwing something askew, but for a go on profile to then 2,000 feet low is, yeah, not ideal. What a nice tower view we do. Oh, not the best tower view. The rails are in the way. You can't move the perspective, unfortunately. Well, if you zoom in enough, we won't see the rail. SAS and Norwegian mainly fly here. I had a look at Avex, yes, on the before the stream, unless someone was asking. Beauty. A little bit heavier on the nose. Just watch that nose dropping. I'll have to use a little bit of back pressure. Perspective from where we vacated. I'd like to do this one here. I don't think you might see the aircraft. Yeah, look, because the runway kind of slopes away. Move my head and point up there slightly. That's exactly from the ground. So, I'm just went idle reverse last flight of the day. Love the perspective, makes you realise how massive the vertical. Yeah, I'm losing it. Plot here. The plot in vertical stabilisers. That's engine failure management. Engine failure. Make sure we got sufficient rudder authority. It's a bit late stowing the reverses then. Excellent. Well there guys, that's another Flight Deck Sim live stream completed. Another trip to Svalbard. I hope you found that interesting. Perhaps learned something new. As I mentioned, the scenery available here, not available by default in X-Plane 11. But it is available from Aerosoft, so I can't remember what the price is. I should have checked before the stream, but I'm sure you'll be able to find that online. I hope you found it yeah, I really said I hope you found it interesting. I'm very tired, as you can probably tell. But no, if you ever want me to fly here again, let me know, because I've got all the scenery for it. We'll be sure to depart the island of the 727, which was our first ever stream here. It's been sat here for quite a while, gathering ice and snow. So I'll look into perhaps doing that in a not too distant future. As ever, thank you to everyone that watched, to everyone that donated as well. Thanks for your generosity, to all the members. Thank you so much for the continued support. For all my regular viewers, thank you for just watching and asking the questions. So it has as much benefit to you as it does I, and you ask some great questions here. Sometimes it gets my head thinking, but as you go out, as ever, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest content. I'll be live again, guys, on Saturday evening. Another great time, around 7-8 o'clock again. We'll be taking part in Cross the Ditch flying. I can't remember now. I've been so busy with other things there, but we're going into Hobart in Australia for the first ever time. I know that much, departing from New Zealand. Stay safe, and I'll see you all in a couple of days' time. Bye for now.